beautiful people. It is Thursday, the 8th of August, 2024. Welcome to TDA, the day after your favorite news platform. And of course, the only home of popular culture as defined by the culture. And of course, as always, every single blessed day, we're hosted by the best.
Come on. This is his brother, Ramsey. Get me, pro-Palestine activist.
Okay.
Get me, your favorite diversity hire and your music supplier. Get me, how are we feeling today?
Thank God, man.
I like that.
Appreciate
I like
it.
that. Imagine doesn't though.
I think I'm just gonna freestyle and fuck around with it every time now.
That's it, man.
Depending on how I feel.
You gotta feel free,
Giving
man.
yourself too much work, bro.
Yeah.
That one sticks.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And they call me E-Man, the pro-black activist, TDA producer and news analyst, melanin jam-packed. Brent.
Good morning. How are you doing? Lovely. And just before we were on air, we were having a fantastic conversation.
About what, Brent? Was it good?
It was very good. It got Ramsey so rattled.
This guy.
Anyway, good morning, chat. Good morning, Timmy. Good morning, Babia. Good morning, Antonia. Good morning, DCF Mooks. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, is it Kerry Ann? Long time since I've heard that name. It's a fantastic name. Good morning, Saravelli. Good morning, Vina. Good morning, Black Mara. Good morning, KK. Good morning, Mark E. Good morning, SLM86. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, TJ. Good morning, Von. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Powell. Good morning, Toby Sahid. Good morning, Star Crow. Good morning, Easy Bambino. Good morning, Mered Semra. I went to the Awesome Store link up yesterday.
Okay.
Just to see like how it felt and stuff, innit? And again, I was just dusting around. Like, and then when they started chanting, they wanted me to chant with them.
I'm not a big chanter as well, to be honest. When I go to protest, I'm not a big chanter.
Why is that?
Don't know. Just don't. I'm there. My presence is there. I hold a sign, but I don't know. I'm just not the type to shout something over and over and over again. But how did you find it otherwise, though?
Yeah, like I was wasting time. Like I tried to understand. I asked the question yesterday. It was the psychology, the psyche of a man to go and do the link up stuff, innit? And I just felt like, what am I doing here? I could be doing something useful. Do you understand? And I looked around and I'm seeing people who look like they just came to fight. And I then saw like, you know, the Stop Oil type people. I saw a lot of them, right? And I'm thinking, I am not supposed to be here. That's the feeling I felt, by the way. And then there weren't any like ups. So I really felt, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like I felt very stupid.
But you know, that's just how it is, though, isn't it? Like, everyone has a different role. And sometimes when you play the role that you're not meant to play, you feel that your time is being wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, imagine like in the war times, yeah, when people actually meet on battlefields or people's castles or land was invaded. People who were doing lookout for like 10, 20 years, they're going to feel like, what am I doing with my life? You know what I'm saying? If you feel like there's more to what you can be doing, you know what I'm saying? You're just standing on the wall looking out. You know what I'm saying? So it's different for everybody. But I guess yesterday was different. It was unique because everyone came there to protect in it. So it's more so a waiting game. If someone comes out here, then of course we're going to respond rather than being, you know what I mean, proactive in that approach, just looking for people to beat up. You know what I'm saying? So
what inspired you to go, Brent?
Because I asked the question to the panel, and they were saying that I was a coward.
Oh, right, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was the only person in the room that has actually squared off against a group of white racists.
So you're saying you got history and they don't?
I actually have. I have notches in my belt. Do you understand? And I'm still thinking, why would I go out for it?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I went out to see what it felt like, not be a coward.
Did you go to the BLM marches?
No.
Because I remember. Okay.
No.
Did you only go to this because you wanted to prove, Margs, that you weren't a
Not
pussy?
to prove. No, I wanted to see what feel like a man felt like. Because in my head, I didn't understand why I would do it. I said, if any of my loved ones were there, if Imam basically calls me and says he's stuck in such and such, I will go out because I love this guy, right? But outside of that, why am I going there? I didn't understand why I would do it.
Okay.
All right, you know what? But you articulating it like that, yeah. Let me ask you this question.
That's because that's how my brain works.
No, I'm just saying. Is it because of maybe you don't feel that whole community thing in some capacity?
Probably. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm thinking some of the people that are there. They're like, when it is it's not day or on night, but in the normal regular stuff,
Yeah.
they're in gangs and stuff, innit?
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't look at it the way you look at it, man. You know?
Yeah.
Like needs must or necessity, or they're forced into this, right?
Was it not regular people there as well? Like mums, dads, like they're people with children, no?
To protect the community?
Yeah, well, not protect, but counter protest.
No, I the whole counter protest. That's not the angle I was approaching it yesterday when I was asking the question.
Right.
I was asking the question on the whole EDL are coming, let's go beat them up type thing.
Right.
That's
Oh,
the position I
okay.
was taking when I was asking them the question, why would you do
Okay.
this? You good? That's your chair over there, yeah?
Yes. We saying good.
Yeah, that's good.
What's that? You're calling me? All right, cool. So it wasn't the whole anti-protest such and such, because then I would expect women, children,
Yeah, so it's
placards,
proper like people looking
all
for fights.
different types of people here, and whatnot. Sorry. So, no, I wasn't expecting to see that.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. Good for you.
Yeah.
So did you go there feeling emboldened, or did you go there feeling correct? Like, did you go there going,
No, I didn't.
I was right.
I didn't.
Fuck my waste of time
No,
for.
that's not. Again, it wasn't the right thing. I just didn't
Alright,
understand
pussy.
it.
I don't feel like a pussy.
No, I didn't understand it.
Okay, alright.
And again, I'm thinking as I was standing there, so if there were like EDLs over there, right, and then they start charging,
What you can do?
yeah, what, am I running into it? It didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Like I said, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's because
I told y'all I'm very reactionary.
exactly. I
In
was
that
just about to say
sense.
that to you.
I'm very reactionary. So even with the example of me like squaring off against these motherfucking racist bunch of white people that I've done, it wasn't because I went looking for it.
It came to you.
It came to me. Do you understand? And in that moment, there wasn't I'm going to run. It's, why are you doing this?
Stop.
And you went,
Oh.
I remember Stephen and Dar were there.
I don't know about the story. Okay.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
Okay,
I've told it already. I'm not
Yeah,
interested
I
in
know.
telling it again. But it was like, I don't know what, 11 white guys, and they used to live in their estate. The estate no longer exists.
Okay.
You understand? So it was way back when we first moved to this area, right? And I just, in my mind, it's like the goal of you, and why are you talking? The ringleader. And in my head, you take the ringleader out, the rest of them will scatter. So it's not really like
people.
10 of them, it's really just one of them. Do you understand? But outside of that, I didn't understand the EDL and defending the community stuff. So
understand.
to answer your question, man, I don't think it was because I don't feel a sense of community. It's not that at all. If maybe you're right, actually.
That's what I think.
Let's just say I'm part of a youth group, and I knew
Alright.
all of the boys in the youth group. All of them were brothers. We grew up together, we went to school together, and that was our turf.
Yeah.
I think that'd be different. I would have some sort of connection to it greater than me meeting in Tesco to defend the area.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
That's
Yeah,
basically what I was saying the
100%.
other day. That's exactly what I was saying.
I think
the other day.
if so, you're basically the type of guy where if you were crossing the street and you saw someone getting attacked racially,
I would
you would
definitely go-
intervene.
yeah.
I get you. But you're not gonna go. I'm gonna go up and defend this community, which I have no bearing
No
with at all.
connection to
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I agree with you. No, I agree with Brent 100%.
Yeah. makes
Unless you
sense.
know them, you're not gonna go and be like, wait, hold on, what's going on? Because I don't feel a sense of community in my area.
I don't even live in Walthamstow. So I felt like if I went with somebody, maybe I could have talked with them. But I felt like, and I'm not making conversations. I'm hearing bare stupid conversations around me.
Like what?
Um,
You could have an easy one though.
Huh?
You could have an easy conversation. Racism is shit, innit? They were like, yeah, it is. And they would have made a
I
friend in
can't
like 5
small talk
seconds.
like that. I can't small talk like that. Like, and if people small talk with me, I can basically, all right, respond. But I'm still giggling in my head. Like, what are you doing?
We hate these racists. Yeah. That's it. You made a friend for life. That's it.
But there were lots of non-blacks there, though.
Yeah, from the pictures I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the microphone, yeah?
Yeah.
Put it closer.
You can move it.
Right. You have your laptop as well, yeah?
Let's see if people recognize the voice.
Oh, wait, you're not going to introduce to the
I
guy who it is?
want to see if someone's going to recognize the
I
voice.
mean, that's a good idea. Mad distinctive voice as well. Is it yourself? Where? Swear down.
Aylesbury Estate,
Oh,
yeah?
mad.
Survivor.
Mad. Get some horns in.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Aylesbury Estate, yeah?
You can't blame him for being late now. Now that I know he came from South London, you can't blame him.
This ain't a horse and carriage day.
Nah,
man.
we're gonna give you
There's-
shit for
there's
being late.
two-
I gotta get up at fucking crack a door to get here at this time. It's peak.
All right, the mic is now on. Thank you very much for people letting me know the mic wasn't on. Sorry.
That went on. Alright.
All right, that's
Cool,
better.
cool.
How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, guys. Not too bad. What you all saying?
Yeah, I'm alright, man. I'm chilling. I'm tired. Fucking exhausted. Been another week of getting up at stupid o'clock. Yeah, man. Iman, what you saying?
I'm here, man. You know, can't complain. We've got a good topic of the day for us guys to talk about. And there's a few headlines, man, that obviously I definitely want to get you guys' opinion on. And I'm going to give, obviously, to the end of the headlines to see if the people recognize our guest today. And if not, obviously, just let him introduce himself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Brent.
Sorry. Margs is in Liverpool for something else, not what you guys think. Hopefully we'll call him later and he will join the rotation segment, but he wasn't in Liverpool for what you guys think. I know what he put in his story. But yeah.
So you're saying he's not a real stepper? But Sarah Belly just said he's a real stepper.
Yeah.
So you're saying
Can
he's
you
not a real
imagine Brent?
stepper?
He ain't front line. He ain't front line.
This is slander.
Hey, the people know who it is, man.
I don't know who it is, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Man
Yeah,
like
man.
Ed,
Six.
get me. Come on.
All right. So, Brent, let's go into our headlines, man.
Right.
All right, people. So our first set of headlines. Trigger warning, of course, on this first headline. Following the tragic knife attack in Southport that claimed the lives of 3 young girls, widespread unrest erupted across England. In response to these riots, 3 men have been sentenced for their involvement in the violent incidents that occurred in Southport and Liverpool. Derek Drummond received a 3-year sentence for assaulting a police officer during the Southport riots. Declan Guerin was sentenced to 2 years and 5 months for violent disorder and setting a police vehicle on fire, while Liam James Riley faced a 1.5-year sentence for violent disorder and racially aggravated abusive behaviour. The CPS highlighted the severity of their actions, emphasising the panic and chaos that they caused within their communities. Despite their attempts to evade justice, they now face significant prison time and lasting criminal records. These sentences serve as a warning to others who engage in violent unrest, with further suspects facing legal consequences for their involvement in the disorder across the northwest of England. Next headline is pretty much just speaking about the people that stepped out, you know what I'm saying, in response to this, you know what I'm saying? So in response to the rumours, which obviously was a reality of the far-right organised gatherings targeting immigration centres and mosques, thousands of counter-protesters took to the streets in various towns and cities across the UK, like we just spoke about. This particular headline talks about somebody by the name of Hadi Malik, who's a 25-year-old Muslim anti-fascist protester who participated in a peaceful march in Lancashire to counter a potential right-wing march. During the march, Malik and his fellow protesters experienced an unexpected moment of support when pub-goers, apparently, from a nearby pub on Blackburn Road, came out and embraced some of them, expressing solidarity and unity against Islamophobia and far-right violence. Malik described this gesture as a massive and pure expression of solidarity, emphasising the importance of such acts in combating far-right extremism and promoting peaceful coexistence between different communities. What do you feel about that though? Like knowing that, I guess people within the community who are not Muslim, white people, coming out and showing support like that. You know what I'm saying? Do we kind of need to see more of that, or because obviously the headlines kind of seem to be dominated by, you know what I mean, the far right and things of that nature, innit?
We definitely need more of that.
Through history, we've always seen that though.
Mm.
We've always seen white people coming out alongside us, no?
But you would forget that with the way the media is portrayed, especially Murdoch's media. That's not something that they want to show. They always want to show the Muslim man as being the catalyst of everything that's gone wrong, or immigrants in totality to be the catalyst of what's gone wrong. So to see other fellow white people not adhere to that rhetoric, I think it shows. The powers and numbers, innit?
Yeah, makes sense. I wanted to mention on top of that though, and I want Ramsey to play a quick audio clip here. This is about Robert Jenrick. So I believe it was the end of last week or the beginning of this week. We were talking about the potential Tory candidates for leadership, and one of them who seems to be, I don't know, maybe the leader right now, the favourite.
You think so?
I think so.
It's definitely one of them.
He's one of them, innit?
Yeah, he's one of the favourites.
Yeah, Robert Jenrick. I think it's between him and Kemi Badenoch right now as the favourites. But anyway, he's come out and basically told police that they should immediately arrest any protesters that are shouting Allahu Akbar. You know what I'm saying? Which has obviously prompted a row with the Muslim parliamentarians as well. But
He looks like a shamed geography teacher.
but I want you guys to hear it from him. You know what I'm saying? So Ramsey, play that, please.
Yep.
March. Does that phrase, two-tier policing, have any application in the last 8 or 9 days?
Well, I have been very critical of the police in the past, particularly around the attitude of some police forces to the protests that we saw since October the 7th. You know, I thought it was quite wrong that somebody could shout
What about the
Allah
last 8 or
Akbar
9 days?
on the streets of London and not be immediately arrested, or project genocidal chants onto Big Ben and that person not be immediately arrested. That attitude is wrong, and I'll always call out the police for it. I think at the moment, the police are doing their very best. You know, we should thank our brave police officers. We should support their efforts. They need now to be arresting the rioters. I want those individuals who've committed these serious crimes to be sent to jail for the longest possible term. I don't think at this moment politicians should be doing anything to make the lives and jobs of our police officers any more difficult than they already are.
That was so disingenuous.
What do you think about that though? Do you feel like that's dangerous rhetoric, or do you feel like that's something that this country might want to hear right now?
Man said to say God is great, you should get arrested immediately.
Yeah, no, but he's not talking English. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not saying those who say God is great. He's saying Allahu Akbar.
But there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
There's a much bigger picture.
Yeah.
Basically, speaking anything of any sort of language, you could get immediately arrested if someone feels intimidated. He's basically saying if anyone speaks anything of Arabic or any other, fuck it, you can speak in, I don't know, any other country.
Yeah.
Any other country. You should, if you feel threatened as a white person, you should get arrested. That's where all of this will start to stem from.
What if he says, well, it's because of its association with groups like ISIS? You know what I'm saying? And other terrorist groups who say Allahu Akbar before any bloody suicide bombing. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you say then?
Well, no.
Because it's not like if they said something in Bangladeshi language, in Urdu or something.
Urdu.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't gonna have a problem with it.
No, but we understand the connotation that we understand that ISIS aren't the poster child, the poster children of Islam. We understand that they are extremists. We understand that. But to then tarnish every Muslim with the same brush is extremely dangerous.
But what I'm saying is, do you even if that's accurate, and that's
It is
true,
accurate.
yeah, even if it is, do you feel like that does damage to his campaign in this country?
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No. That's what I was saying.
So you think it helps?
I think that's. They know where the tide is turning, so he's looked at that and gone, all right. Just in the same way when Rishi was sort of talking about, you know, being very sort of stern with his words towards like trans and gender identity. He knows where the Tory party know where the world is moving. So they're sort of going, all right, well, we know this is how they feel about it, so we need to make sure that they know where the party is going to say, no, we ain't standing for that. So, you know, like to sort of, just how to sort of keep keep the Faragists, you know, on their side. You know what I'm saying?
But is that enough to win a general election, though? Because let's just say you're saying, okay, that's cool to become the leader of the Tory party. Is that enough to win the you know what I'm saying, a general election in 4 or 5 years from now?
No. First of all, it's to lead the party. That's the
Yes.
first hurdle, right?
Yeah.
So I 100% believe it's enough to basically get him voted in for the leader of the Conservative Party.
Okay, cool.
And that's what he's doing. And you would see, I'm guessing you see Kemi doing that, and you'll also see what's the other one that wants to now
Patel?
go to revolt. She's not gonna.
Reverend.
Reform. She's gonna switch now that they've aligned Farage with Andrew Tate. But she was leaning towards going over there, defecting. But yes, I do believe that that's going to score him a lot of brownie points.
But you remember, like, long term, what does it mean to lead an opposition if you ain't going to win no election?
So now are you asking, is he the strongest candidate with the options that are available?
I'm saying, remember, every decision that a politician is making is for your long-term political career.
Yes.
So if he's saying this, that, and the third, right, to become the leader of the Tory party, you're becoming the leader of the Tory party with hopes of one day leading the Tories to becoming the government, right? So I'm saying to you, the public will remember this. Is that a good thing that the public knows this?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I might contradict myself with the debate I was having with Brent earlier. I don't think he'll win his leadership bid,
Okay.
but if he was to, I think he does have a chance of winning the election. If all of this, the riots, the rhetoric keeps on getting spewed about immigrants and boats, and the economy keeps on plummeting, and the immigrants are being made to be the boogeyman, they will. I think he does stand a chance, if that makes sense. But because of Rwanda, because of the 700 million that was wasted, because of the rhetoric that Suella Braverman was getting was spewing and she got ripped apart, I don't think the Conservatives are going to run with that culture war again, because it didn't do well for them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So right now, in the short term, probably won't win the leadership. But in long term, if the economy keeps on plummeting, they can blame it on Labour for being way too left, in their words, then they might stand a chance of winning the election.
Okay.
Quite similar to what we've seen France nearly fall to. I think it could easily happen here.
Okay. I hear you. Let's go on to our last headline, which takes us back to America, where Republicans have sharpened their attacks on Minnesota Governor Tim Walz over his response to the mass protests that erupted in the state after the 2020 police killing of George Floyd. Right, so as the governor kicks off his campaign as Kamala Harris's running mate, his critics have accused him of bungling the response to the violence by being slow to deploy the National Guard. At least 2 people were killed and over 600 arrested during those protests, which caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damages across Minnesota. The governor recently defended his actions, saying that his administration tried to do the best it could in a difficult situation. Floyd's death at the hands of Derek Chauvin, who was a white Minneapolis police officer, sparked days of protests, some of which descended into riots and looting, and the unrest quickly overwhelmed local authorities, prompting the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, to request Mr. Walz, the running mate of Kamala Harris, to deploy the National Guard 2 days after Floyd's death on the 25th of May in 2020. So long story short, they're saying he was too soft. And that's not looking, well, at least people are saying, the Republicans are obviously saying that's not a good look when it comes to election time. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it for our headlines. Let's go into our topic of the day. All right, people. So I have a topic of the day that was sent in by one of our long-time listeners, right? So I'm just going to read out the email, and I want you guys to give me your thoughts on this particular topic, right? So, hello, the day after family. I haven't messaged in a while. Hope you're all well and good. I have a topic of the day suggestion. Is misandry as much a problem as misogyny? And if not, should it be? Is misandry as much a problem as misogyny? And if not, should it be? Goes on to say, obviously, with the Olympics going on, there's been a lot of focus on Simone Biles, which is deserved, as she's amazing, but there's a lot of attention on her relationship with her husband. There have been comments about Simone calling her out for being with her husband, who the public seem to not like. And so many people for a while have been dissing her husband for saying he didn't know who she was before they met and he was the prize in their relationship. And it's led to people saying that he's a beta male and questions on his masculinity, right? So it's got me thinking about how easy for men's masculinity to be questioned, how easy it is for men's masculinity to be questioned, and whether the people asking and calling him out have a misandrous undertone. Are there any call-outs in society about misandry? And is it taken anywhere seriously as misogyny? And if not, should it be taken more importantly, and how? I think even if a man does point out misandry, it leads to ridicule and him being looked down upon by both men and women, which is harsh. It gets more frequent with the shouts of men are trash, etc., which I do, not proudly, have to admit that I have said before, right? I have a 10-year-old son, and I would hate for him to grow up thinking women or girls don't need men or think of him in a certain way because of how normalized I hate men culture is now. Maybe you lot can help with some clarity and give your standpoints on what it's like as men or as women observing men. Love, TDA fan. So, yeah, what's your initial thoughts, man?
So misandry,
Yes.
just to define it,
Thank you.
refers to the dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against men. It is the male counterpart to misogyny, which is the dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. Misandry can manifest in various ways, including negative stereotypes, discrimination, and social practices that are hostile or detrimental to men.
Thanks for that, Brent.
You're welcome.
So what's your thoughts?
Do I think misandry is a bigger problem than misogyny? No.
Or just as bad?
Well, yeah, by definition, of course. So
Why by definition?
Because to treat anyone differently based on their race, sex, or orientation,
But is it
whatever
as
wrong.
prevalent in society?
No.
So you guys think misogyny is far worse?
Yes.
It's more of an issue for society.
I think so, in my opinion, yeah.
Tell me why.
I just in my workplace, I see it a lot more. Well, it's I'm always gonna say it from a standpoint of where. So my workplace is male dominated. Yeah, we have women that work there, but it's predominantly male dominated, and I see a lot of women getting treated differently to the men on near enough a week basis. So I'm going by, I guess you could say, anecdotal evidence. This is what stuff that I've experienced, as well as having friends, family. But yeah, that's basically my opinion. I can hear Kevin typing the numbers furiously on the phone right now.
Kevin,
what do you think?
call up.
Yeah, no. I was just reading Curtis's comment.
So there's women that don't believe misandry. That's a different thing. But
Put it towards you.
but that concept is nowhere near as harmful as misogyny is. Let's actually be serious now.
Okay, so Curtis
Yeah,
is
that's-
saying,
That's basically
okay.
Yeah, that's a good.
basically what I said.
Yeah, that's a good. I was gonna say that's probably similar to how I feel about it, where it's just like the concept of it. Yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely not right. We definitely don't stand for anybody being discriminated against. But yeah, in the grand scheme of it, to say that it's as prevalent or to say it's on the same scale, is just that
But- Okay,
it's crazy to me.
But I think that
Listen-
stems. Sorry, I think that stems from the fact that we believe that the world is run by men, right?
Yeah,
all right then.
But there's men who don't.
true.
There's men who
Exactly.
don't believe. There's men who believe we're losing our masculinity, whatever the fuck that means,
Yeah.
and that is due to feminism, which is then linked to misandry.
Then let's see who this is.
Let's see if he rose up.
I'm not into the headphones. I can never hear it properly.
Call again, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, what? Yeah, no.
Ed, you can put on the headphones because sometimes it's hard.
So,
to
sorry about this, guys. All right. So obviously you lot have just come out straight, just like Curtis said. Listen, man, let's not be childish about this. Misogyny is far worse, and I feel like a lot of people pretty much hold that same sentiment. But I want us to actually excavate this idea, right? Why though?
Hey, what's up?
What have you?
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? What's going on, Eddie?
Yo, what's up, Eddie?
Good. Not much, not much.
So Eddie, what's your views, man? Do you feel like misogyny is worse than misandry, which is the opposite of misogyny? Do you feel like women have it much tougher than men?
Yeah, I think so. I think misogyny is much more common than that.
Well, why do you think that's the case though? Like on a day to day, do you feel like what do you see? What makes you feel that way basically?
Because I hear how much women, how hard they have it, especially more than the men do, and they grow through a lot of it on almost all the time.
And do you feel like the issues that maybe women go through on a day to day that obviously us men can't relate to, those issues are caused by men? Or do you feel like this is just maybe part of the evolutionary process? This is just life? Or do you feel like men basically are the cause of this?
Yeah, I think men basically cause it.
Okay. Why so? Like, as in because of how society's set up and things like that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And one last question, Eddie, yeah? In your like day to day in your life, yeah, do you feel like that's something you care about to the point where you try to, I don't know, ease that pressure on the women in your life? Or do you feel like sometimes you're overwhelmed by it and there's nothing you can really do?
Well, the thing is, I try not to be that way myself because I respect women very much.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hear you there, man. I hear you.
Thank you very much for calling,
Thank
Eddie.
you,
Yeah, I
Eddie.
appreciate that, man.
Hope you have
My
a fantastic
pleasure.
day.
Thanks.
Always
Thanks, you as
appreciated.
well.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. So yeah, you guys. Yeah, well, what's your rationale behind why misogyny is worse?
Because it's a lot more prevalent, so we're naturally going to say it's worse.
As somebody who, okay, this may sound like a silly question, yeah, but do you feel like you guys can empathize with
No,
women?
we can't. You never empathize, you can sympathize, but
Okay.
we can't empathize.
Okay, cool. So you don't feel like you can ever be
Bless you.
in that position and feel what women are going through?
Not when it's very specific to gender stuff. So like, we'll never understand what it feels like to be looked at as like the angry black woman, for instance. Like, we'll never understand what that feels like, for instance. But like, obviously, some more generic sort of issues that they have that sort of are similar to ours. Then yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's easier to empathise. But yeah, there's very specific female experiences that we just will never fully be able to relate to. You know what I'm saying?
The reason why I'm saying that is if you can't put yourself in that position, how can you know that that's worse than what you go through? Whose opinions are you taking that, you know what I mean?
Because I don't get treated differently because of my sex.
You don't?
Not in a negative way.
How do you know?
Because I don't feel the effects. I can't feel if I haven't been negatively affected by being judged just purely on my sex, then I can't.
So if I say to you, okay, cool, that means you can't even sympathize with men. Because there are men out there who every day feel as though they're judged negatively. You know, because they are men.
Misandry exists.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not downplaying that. The first one that popped into my head was Terry Crews
Okay.
when he got sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
On Crucial J, just much as it seems that misandry is overlooked. Men don't really make it a thing. They either keep it to themselves or brush it off and get on with their day. I agree with that.
Yeah, so if that's the case, that means the men that go through things you never hear from.
That could be true. But
So
then
how-
but then you're saying that could be a reason as to why it's a lot less prevalent.
Yeah, and
Okay.
why is we could be wrong in our assessment that misogyny is worse.
That's true.
Yeah,
I get that.
Why are we jumping to comparisons first off? We can do that in this discussion, but we don't need to do that right at the top of the discussion, right?
I mean, it's still part of it because I guess a lot of the time it's to kind of assess certain things, you have to do it in contrast to the opposite, innit? And we're very aware of misogyny, innit? You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's the reason why you kind of comparing it in that way. Because the question is it as much as a problem as misogyny is? You know what I'm saying?
No, I heard the reason why you're comparing it. Or we can do that at the end.
Okay.
We
cool.
can just focus on misandry.
Okay.
Because we look to get people's backs up when it is we start comparing it.
Okay.
Some people would say
Yeah.
struggle Olympics. Do you understand? So if we just focus on misandry first, and then later down the line, we can basically say, all right, which is worse?
So
Alright,
the examples of misandry that I can think of is, like I said, Terry Crews. Any sexual assault that's happened to men isn't necessarily taken seriously. Family court is also another thing where men, even if they are the better caretaker or caregiver, are not treated as well as women in regards to family court.
Yep.
What's another one?
All right. Can we give you some examples?
Yeah, go on.
All right. So, negative stereotypes: generalizing men as inherently violent,
Okay.
irresponsible, or emotionally detached.
Yep.
2, media representation: portraying men predominantly as villains, bumbling idiots, or overly aggressive in TV shows, movies, and advertisements. Discrimination in family courts, as you said, favoring mothers over fathers in custody battles solely based on gender without considering individual circumstances.
Yep.
Dismissing men's issues, ignoring or belittling issues that predominantly affect men, such as higher suicide rates,
Yep.
workplace fatalities, and mental health problems. Bias in education, implementing educational policies or practices that unfairly disadvantage boys, such as discouraging certain behaviors or interests that are more common among boys. Social expectations, criticizing men for not conforming to traditional gender roles, such as being the primary breadwinner, while simultaneously criticizing those who do conform for perpetuating those roles. Harassment and violence, downplaying or dismissing cases of harassment or violence against men, or treating them as less serious than similar cases involving women.
Yep.
Workplace discrimination, creating hostile work environments for men, or instituting hiring and promotion practices that unfairly disadvantage men based on gender. Public policy, laws and policies that unfairly target men, such as those that do not adequately address domestic violence against men or assume men are always the perpetrators. And social media and online discourse, making sweeping negative generalizations about men or engaging in campaigns that target men based on gender.
And also domestic violence as well.
Yeah, that's a good shot.
Yeah, that domestic violence was in the public policy. That was just before.
No, really. Okay.
All right. Thanks for all the examples, Brent. We're gonna go dive into them. The sexual abuse one. Yeah, like the
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. Obviously, again, I don't want to start comparing, but do you feel like in circles where it's just women discussing certain things, their past and them being trigger warning, sexually abused, women will laugh at them?
Their own friends, like their own. No,
Yeah.
they won't. No way.
No.
In men's circles, though,
Yeah.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews got roasted.
He got cooked.
Yeah.
Because of, especially
Because of
not
his
just,
size.
Yeah, because of not just his man, but because how big he is as well.
This is it.
Like, how are you gonna let a man do that to you? And that? Yeah,
Disgusting.
yeah. It's like, yeah, definitely that was the narrative. Like, how you let a man do that to
Yeah.
you? Still.
Yeah. For real. I 100% agree. But
Right.
still, like, even with his size, even if he was able to fight back or do whatever, it still happened.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't stop it from happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And isn't that, I guess, because I kind of feel as though one of the biggest problems with misandry is that it manifests in silence. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that you're kind of forced or taught to just be quiet about it.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
Why do
Why?
you think that is?
Because I think society, men and women, have kind of created a world where you're smiling.
Yes, sir.
Created a world where men can't show weakness.
Can't show emotions.
Weakness.
Emotions.
Weakness.
Okay.
Synonyms.
we can go about this all day.
Okay.
So men perpetuate or men exacerbate
Yeah.
misandry, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, if one of your boys got sexually harassed, we're roasting him. Like, we're like, what are you? We're in on him. Yeah, that's the man them say, the man from where I'm from. they wouldn't want to say nothing for fear of getting ridiculed, right?
Okay, let's not say us. Let's just say the world did to Terry Crews, right? Because you know what I'm saying.
Whatever you want to say. Whatever you want
Alright,
to say.
go on.
Also, as well as that, if the person was genuinely hurt and affected by that, for that person to then show emotion, show vulnerability, is deemed as weakness, and they're not masculine. So I feel like men, as a whole, perpetuate or, like I said, exacerbate they exacerbate misandry, because they can't then come out and say, "Yo, this is genuinely affecting me."
Yeah.
Because there's people like yourself who say, "Man, I ain't never cried since I was like 5. I'm a straight man. Da da da. I'm red-blooded." Da, da. All that nonsense to me is wild. It's nonsense to me. To say that say that a man can't cry when he has to is wild to me.
I mean,
like,
you said has to, and I know what you're talking about.
when people die, if you do grieving,
to?
no, not have
But
to.
let's-
But if
it
someone,
doesn't- it
if
doesn't even
someone,
matter. It doesn't
no,
even
don't
matter.
start it and then shut it down. If that's what I'm saying, if a man feels like he has to be emotional,
Yeah.
he can't, because there is, for the most part, most men, I can say, probably in quotes, because I ain't got no statistics to back it, would see that as them being weak, and they're not men. So that fuels misandry.
That's definitely a problem, innit? But I think it's more so. I think definitely you're right. Men definitely exacerbate, but I think it's a society thing. I think women do the same thing, right? Because it's men. Because men are meant to be seen as the strong pillars in society, and women want strong men. That's just the reality. People may not like it. Trigger warning, right?
Is that trigger warning?
You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. But I'm not saying women don't want emotional men, but they don't want weak men. You know what I'm saying? No woman wants to be led by a man that she believes is weak. And sometimes weakness, it manifests in particular ways. It could be from your trauma, your past experiences that make you perceive weakness in particular ways, right? And if you see that particular thing manifest in a man that's meant to lead you or meant to be amongst your friends or whatever it may be, you may perceive him wrongly as weak. So I think it's everybody, society as a whole.
But before we get into that, Amy Snowglobe's written something in. Shout out to Amy Snowglobe as well, man. Top girl, she introduced herself to me. Top girl, man. Shout out to her. She's lovely. Isn't that internalized misogyny? ? Because emotions are associated with women. What do you think?
That's a good
That's a
point.
good question.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's a good
question.
point, yeah.
it is. Oh, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
It's sort of in between.
Do you want the Wi-Fi?
No, I got a hotspot.
All right, cool. And you stop wiggling about, because each time it is you wiggle about, you go off center, and I have to stand up and then correct it.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's cool.
It's rude, isn't it? I'm joking. Yeah, I think that's a good question. But when you said society's defined that, then it runs back to the question of who runs society.
Yeah, back and forth.
So do you all agree
Yeah.
That what?
I think
with what Amy just said?
Sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, innit? Where it's like we as men are raised to believe emotions are weakness and emotion is quote unquote feminine. But at the same time, you know, the women also project the same way of to look at a man as emotional is a weakness as well.
Yep.
So it's literally, yeah, I feel like we both look at it the same way. So it's technically both misogyny and misandry, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think you might be seeing me change my opinion.
Go on, let's hear it.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
When I actually deep it, yeah, because Brent reminded me, suicide rates are high and prevalent within young men and men in
100%.
general.
I think it's the biggest killer in men under 40 or something.
Now, if we were to define in regards to relativity, what's worse, right? Because one might say is crazy. If men die more via misandry
Yeah,
than women die of misogyny,
yeah.
then I can say confidently that misandry is worse. And it's a bigger problem. If we're talking about it on a death basis.
Yeah.
If it's purely on my lifestyle's affected versus someone dying, nah, I'm not having that. But then it still doesn't, I feel like it's, even though I say that, society's norms are still deemed society's norms by men.
In your opinion?
In my opinion.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So misandry is worse if we're talking about death, right?
Does it matter who's the cause of it?
I
Because
think so.
it's misandry, obviously. hate to say it, but in this particular conversation, it's misandry versus misogyny, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to compare which one you think is worse or more prevalent. And I guess one of the things you're using is the fact that when you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? And that's always going to be the worst thing.
Yes.
Okay, cool. But you kind of were specific about suicide rates.
With death, yeah.
But misogyny, there's domestic abuse.
That's true. But death.
Yeah, which could lead to death.
That is true.
as in
But I'm
men
saying just purely on death, right? That's the only thing I'm
but
based
that's what
on.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, suicide rates, without trying to sound, I don't know, flippant about this, but it's still men killing themselves, isn't it? But misogyny still encompasses the idea of men killing women.
So that's I get you, and it goes back to the point where it's still men defining what's wrong. It's still men doing shit that's wrong.
Yeah.
We're talking about misandry. The men that have killed themselves for whatever reason, due to misandry, that's been defined and stipulated by men.
Okay.
When women are getting hurt, that's because of, for the most part, obviously we're talking
of course.
Heterosexual relationships.
Yeah.
Through men, men seem to be at the catalyst.
Yeah, so
of most, or if not all.
Okay, so again,
these problems.
So you're basically just kind of honing in on the cause of these things, but not
I think it's
necessarily the
important.
thing itself.
Because misandry, we could argue that it comes from men to men, right?
Okay.
And misogyny comes from men to women, predominantly.
Okay.
So that's why I just wanted to bring up the correlation. I think it's important to stipulate.
All right, cool. I hear you. Ed, what do you think about that, though? Is it important to look at the causes, though? Or is it just a case of, okay, this is misandry, this is misogyny, and this is how it's affecting society? Because what good does the cause do?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm more focused on how it's affecting us as opposed to why it's here. Because it's here now, regardless of how it got here, it's here. So I feel like...
I disagree with you.
I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like the problem lies in now changing that perception of it and removing that concept and removing that construct through both genders. I feel like both genders have to agree to remove these constructs of misogyny and misandry. Like, it's not, of course, yes, there's some specific situations, like say, like DV and whatnot, where specifically that is all on the man, but that comes from a man who's, believes that society has made him believe that, oh yeah, like I'm allowed to do, or maybe not allowed, but I'm within my right to sort of express myself how I want to express myself. So if it means I lash out sometimes, I lash out, whatever it may be. But so it's that it's tapping into now figuring out how to remove these tropes, remove this idea. Because like you said, just deep in the fact that really the biggest cause in these men killing themselves, is the simple fact that most of them just haven't been able to go talk to somebody. Like that simple. Like how many times I've read up articles about someone was in debt or someone was in this or some guy this that and the other, whatever. No one would say small things because they are obviously in their life it's big, but things that for the most part, majority of us, we all deal with in some way, shape or form. Just knowing that really, if they just had somebody in their life that they could talk to, a partner, a therapist, a friend, whoever it is, that they can talk to and express that. It's like that would probably have saved that person's life.
100%.
More time would have saved the person's life. So rather than being like, all right, well, let's focus on, why it's here. It's like, no, let's focus on how to get rid of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I hear you. And I think, go on.
How you said we should focus on changing it, which obviously is what we want to do, but we can't focus on changing what's here without understanding its origins. Do you get what I'm saying? So we can't deal with the result of something without knowing where it's come from.
I can acknowledge where it comes from, of course. Yeah, I can acknowledge that. Obviously, yes. Man, for the most part, has created these tropes and pushed these agendas and whatnot throughout the centuries and millennia, blah blah. But in terms of, I just always see when these conversations happen, it always becomes a blame game.
Okay.
So it's just like, instead of trying to do this is on you and this is on you and and this is how it got here, but then this is how you lot perpetuate and this is how you lot do this and this. It's like, no, just you're getting too caught up in trying to find the blame instead of trying to find a solution.
I guess it's just important to see the cause so we don't repeat it again.
Yeah.
As well. But I get how you're saying this. It could be perceived as a blame game. What was you gonna say, man?
I think for me, this is why in a lot of these discussions, I don't want to say waste time, but I feel like a lot of these situations, I personally just take the approach of they're as bad as each other. Just, you know, when people say, "Oh, men are bigger liars," or they do this more than women, or women do this more than men, I just say everyone does the same. Because how do you prove it? Number one, and number two, it manifests in different ways. Like, for example, misogyny, we know is more apparent, at least visually, what we hear, right, than misandry. I think by far, but I think that's I think that's what makes misandry so dangerous, because the manifestation of misandry at its peak, craziest, heightened form is silence. So you don't know it exists. So you can't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's probably the most criminal thing about it.
How do you, as E-man, help by... You know what I'm getting to, innit?
No, tell me.
How do you, as a person, outside of this place, in your daily life, how do you go about not enabling or allowing misandry to continue? Do you think your rhetoric of saying you've never cried before, man, them being emotional is crazy, allows your friends and the man them that you roll with to come up to you and feel comfortable in saying, yo, I'm dealing with this?
Yeah, because that's not the only part of Emmanuel. You know what I'm saying? There's loads of things I say in jest. You know what I'm saying? But people that know me know how I am. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
There's no one that can come to me and tell me something serious, cry in front of me, and I laugh or walk away thinking they're weak. It's impossible. That's just not me. I'm being like 100% honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I do think I am somewhat a victim of the whole idea that if you do cry, show emotions, you are weak. Because I've thought that way since I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in that sense, I'm part of the problem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
but I do understand that people need outlets. I'm just not one of those people who would allow myself to ever be seen as weak. So I can't put myself in that position because I know how the world can judge. But if you were to come to me, I will show you that I'm not a judge. You know what I'm saying? Because who am I to judge?
Kind of.
Okay, cool.
Because you're going based on how you feel you're going to be perceived.
I mean, I don't live my life like that, but I'm just trying to say
I know, but
where,
I'm saying
where it comes
in that
from,
regard.
idea.
Yeah. So you're saying that if you done that, you're going to be, I'm weak. So how can you not see that when someone else does it?
Because I don't see people that way. I don't see people that way. I judge myself by different standards to other people.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, I've got a history. I've been on this planet for X amount of years. So I know that even if I was to shed a tear, for example, or to show some emotion some type of way, I wouldn't say to myself, man, you're weak now. You're done. It just doesn't make no sense. But I'm still wired in such a way where that's going to be my last thingy. It just doesn't even exist in my head. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But again, that's because I think I'm that wrapped up in that whole idea. You know what I'm saying? And it's just part of me now. But even though I say these things and say it in jest or whatever, there's no human being, no man that can come to me and be vulnerable and me take advantage. No chance.
Do you feel like you can unlearn that though? You feel like you can
That's a
unlearn
good question.
those things that you've been raised to believe?
I think so. But I think it takes great effort. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's not, in the nicest way possible, a priority for me to be like, okay, cool, I need to unlearn the damages of this, that, and the third. And there's other things that we need to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And so, but 100%, that's a good question. I do definitely think I can unlearn it. I think like most things in life, you can unlearn things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You just have to be willing though.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean?
Ed, how do you feel about emotions? Like, what do you agree with the whole, Lavondre Adam said, some people believe misandry is justified or does not exist because it balances out women and men. What does that mean exactly? Does anyone know what that means? What, as in like, they want men to die? Or
basically, I think it sounds like
it's that extreme.
Yeah.
If there's people that believe that, then they're obviously fucking dickheads. I don't talk to people like that. That's an extremist.
I want to try and see it from that angle though. What if they're trying to say, okay, cool, the fact that we have misogyny and people from this particular angle, they believe maybe people are not doing enough to deal with misogyny. I think it's a good thing that we have misandry so that you can maybe feel what we feel. And if society has enough of misandry, maybe we can deal with misandry and misogyny at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that might be the angle
okay.
that I think he's talking about.
So it would allow men. So you're basically saying so it would allow men to
Yeah.
understand and either sympathize or empathize
Precisely.
with misogyny.
Precisely.
Okay, I guess so.
All right, let's go into some of the other things about misandry, yeah, that obviously kind of get overlooked. Before we do move on to our next category, I do want to mention a couple stats. Well, one stat to be fair, and this is according to the ONS, the Office for National Statistics. Basically, just to corroborate what Ramsey said earlier, men accounted for about 75% of suicide deaths in recent years. Right, this is in the UK. What about homelessness? The majority of people who are homeless in this country is men, right? That's a fact. What about if I was to come from the angle and say, well, because it's men, this is why the government, this is why charities, let me not say charities, because charities are doing their work, but let's just say the government are not putting as much focus. Because it's men, Suella Braverman can come out and say, it's a lifestyle choice. If the street was filled up with women, right, with just a blanket on, head on the bloody pavement, sleeping all over the streets, people would care more. What's your thoughts?
I think they would care more, but I think that the first thing that pops into my head is the biological differences between a man and a woman.
All right,
so if
speak
a
to me.
woman is homeless on the street and they go through their monthly cycle, it's extremely difficult to deal with. If they don't have sanitary wear, they don't have hygienic wear, a lot of stuff can happen to them that could potentially be lethal. So I think that's probably where the sympathy comes from. It stems from, in my belief, it stems from the biological differences between a man and a woman.
I think that's quite nice of you.
Yeah?
Because why should that be the reason why I care less about men on the street?
Because
it's something that happens.
Because men don't go through monthly cycles.
Because of that monthly cycle?
No, I'm saying I think some of it stems from there. If a woman wears the same...
But why is that anything?
Because women can potentially die if they don't change their sanitary wear.
Okay. Thanks for that, Ramsey. I mean, when I used to work in Hackney, a council, there was about 2 or 3 homeless guys that used to sleep in front of Hackney Empire. They would come into the council building, make a bit of noise, this, that, and the third, and leave. And I remember one winter, obviously, it got cold. This is many years back now. And I come into work one day, and I hear that so-and-so, I can't remember his name now, is dead. You know what I'm saying? So this is a reality. So even though you're talking about menstrual, not being able to change and do certain things, may have implications, and you could die.
It's an additional implication.
Okay, cool.
As well as what men go through.
Cool. The reality is, the data isn't there to suggest that it's something that would be the biggest problem because women are not there, right? Men are there. It gets winter, and we know what winter's like in this country, and men are dying on the streets. So why isn't that enough? You just said earlier, death is the worst thing because you can't come back from that.
No, I know, but I'm saying you asked earlier, why is it deemed more suitable for men than it is for women? And the first thing I said that popped into my head was the biological differences.
Don't get me wrong, I get what you're saying, but I feel like that would be more valid if, for example, there was loads of women on the street and loads of men, and people came and prioritized the women. There's not loads of women on the streets. You know what I'm saying? There's just loads of men on the streets, and no one's doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm being a bit flippant about they're not doing anything. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Before you read what's on the screen, someone just emailed in saying, not Emmanuel expressing and displaying vulnerability, changed attitudes, and calling himself somewhat of a victim. Genuinely love it. One for the books. Remember when you called yourself a victim?
I feel attacked. I feel attacked. This is misandry.
Nah.
This is misandry.
I didn't hear you say the word victim.
He did.
He did?
He did, yes. He said he's a victim of it.
Oh,
condition
actually,
is-
let's not. We just turned a new leaf with E-Man, innit? Stop highlighting it. Let's move on, innit?
I'm going back into my
See
show.
what I mean?
I'm going back into my
That's
show,
what
guys.
We can't highlight it. We deal with it and we move on. It's people like Emmanuel, we act like he never said that, but we understand that he said that.
It's too late. Yeah, go on,
Mirad Semira, you said there is a whole realm of the conversation that isn't ever touched. Can you please elaborate so that we can touch on it, please? Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So with the homelessness thing, I feel like that's the main thing. You know what I'm saying?
And as well, not saying that it doesn't exist for men,
Cool.
but women, again, trigger warning, women will more than likely get raped more than their male counterpart.
Okay.
So that's another risk that would be there for women if they were to live on the streets, as well as the fact that possibly, and I'm pulling this out my ass, possibly more of them are mothers. So I don't know if that plays a part as well.
Okay.
But all of it stands with the majority of
But
the
they're not with their
differences.
kids. Sorry to cut you, but they're not with their kids.
What do you mean?
As in, you were talking about if they were women that are mothers on the street.
Or they're potential mothers, or they're pregnant or something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like the men are left to freeze, and whereas the women, I guess, could be argued that they get taken care of a lot more.
I'm not trying to put this on you, right? But do I have to pause that?
Hey, we'll pause. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But
Such immaturity. I think it's rooted in homophobia too. Yeah, I had to do it because I want it stopped. I want it stopped.
We're gonna get some other emails now.
but yeah, like I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, Brent, man, you fucked it up.
Thanks a lot, Brent.
It's my fault, but you saying you have to basically.
Listen, man, don't make it worse.
You was about to put it all on me.
You see what I'm saying? Anyway, it was based on your last comment about. What's the last thing you said?
Women. Sorry, mothers. Pregnant women, potential.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, what would you say to the person that would say, okay, but Ramsey, I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like you're just justifying misandry. Because yeah, you may point to reasons why these things don't exist, right? Or the reason for certain things, but the women are not there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I said earlier, we're prioritizing the homeless women. They're not there in the numbers, nowhere near the numbers that men are there. Why does it sound like you're just justifying why we're leaving men there?
Okay.
Why can't we direct the resources to getting them off the street as well? Surely it's just because they're men.
That's correct. Yeah. But I would say that the women, because the initial question was, why do we see a lot of men than women? And my theory was the biological differences, and that they're prioritized because of those biological differences, and the fact that they are more susceptible to risks being by themselves than men are. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the men should be taken care of as well. That would basically be my answer.
Okay. Brent, you've obviously worked a youth centers with kids and stuff, yeah. You mentioned earlier about the education and certain things and how dropout rates and things of that nature, yeah. Boys in the UK are more likely to struggle academically and drop out of school compared to girls, yeah. GCSE results consistently show that girls outperform boys and men are less likely to attend university. I think this is this might be a year and a half, 2 years ago. I think we had a caller called Jamal, yeah, and he called up and was like, why are we not talking about the fact that black boys are not going to university and completing, or just not going to university, period, as much as women? Can that be seen as misandry, bro? Should it be seen as misandry?
Can what be seen as misandry?
Everything I said about the fact that men or boys are kind of failing in school and also not going into higher education as much as women. Because
is the observation, stating observation misandry? Is that what you asked me?
The fact that maybe that's the reality and nothing's been done about it, is that misandry? Is it just not high enough on people's radar?
As in neglecting
Yes.
their educational needs, so much so that it manifests in them not looking to go on onto higher education.
Precisely. Why don't we care enough about that? Society, government, whoever we want to blame.
I mean, there are so many different factors, isn't it? What do men go on to do? What do boys go on to do? If they're not going to university, what do they end up doing? Because they're not taking education seriously. Are you saying that the teachers are neglecting their responsibilities by not forcing them to take it seriously?
No, maybe just prioritizing certain things. So for example, if somebody was struggling in a particular area, you may put more resources to that particular area. So if, for example, 30 children in the class, half 15, girl and boy, and then you notice that 50% of the boys are failing, why would we put as much time into everybody? Potentially, I'm just saying, this is what someone may say, into everybody when we
Are
should
these
maybe
black boys
direct.
or is it just boys in general?
According to this is boys, but the stat is also there as well for black boys, black men. Yes, not going to higher education and completing as much as black women. But what I just read out was for boys in the UK.
With the black boys, any sort of disruption, they're thrown out,
Cool.
right? What does that speak to? Does that speak to Misandry?
This is
No,
what I'm asking.
because they don't do it to the white boys.
Okay.
So it's black boy specific. It's more rooted in systemic racism.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that question.
What if somebody said that's part of the problem though?
That I don't know how to answer the question?
No, that you've kind of diced it and said, okay, cool. This isn't misandry necessarily because it's only specific to black boys, because we haven't got a name for it. Because sometimes, this is why I guess on TV or whatever, people like to say, I think, what was her name? Sultana, the MP for Coventry South.
Zoe Sultana.
What's her name?
Is it Zoe Sultana?
Something like that. Is it? I believe it begins with a Z. But
Zara Sultana.
I think so. Miss Sultana, yeah. She was basically saying, yo, these riots...
Zara Sultana.
Thank you. These riots, Islamophobic. We need to call it by its name, because then we can be specific about the approach
Oh, is that the one
in
with the
dealing with
balls?
it. Yes, which we're going to get into later. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't have a name for it, is that a problem? Because obviously, misogyny is prevalent, crazy. But then we've got specific to women, black women, misogynoir, right? What's the male equivalent? And if there is no male equivalent of that, yeah, is it a problem for us to kind of not see it as misandry? Because maybe it'll kind of get left.
Do you see it as misandry?
I believe so. I'm starting to. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've now seen the light?
I mean, I had never thought of misandry before.
Do you...
I'm a victim, remember? But you know what I'm trying to say, though? Because in this situation, if we don't call it what it is, then I think it just gets left.
Okay, join the dots for me, though. Join the dots for me, because I'm seeing it, the black boy specific issue
Yeah.
more so as the racism stuff,
Cool.
right? And obviously both can exist in an issue.
For sure.
But the boys not taking education seriously, is it on the parents more than the teachers?
100%.
I say 50-50.
The household,
50-50 on
the
that.
family.
50-50.
Yeah, because I know many teachers who made me feel like I don't want to be here. You know, at the same time, the pressures that your parents put on you to do certain things.
But it's, I don't understand the pressure you're talking about. Have you got any kids?
Yeah,
You do? So, how's your kids? What am I asking?
reception.
Reception, yeah. So, personally, with my son, we taught him how to read. We did phonics mad early before he started. Before he started year one, right? So we gave him like a 6-week head start during the summer holidays. So even if the teacher wasn't good, or say he didn't gel with the teacher as well as he could have, we equipped him. Do you get what I'm saying? And I get what you're saying, because I had teachers. I mean, I didn't even finish college. I dropped out. I fucking hated teachers. I hated most of my teachers. But I think the pressure we dealt with was, you need to be doctor by the time you're 15. Why are you not reading 15 books when I see you? Why you keep on playing the Xbox type of pressure? Yeah. Whereas the pressure that we should be putting on our kids is more, let's do this together, make it an activity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's 50-50. I think teachers already carry a lot as it is. I think it's down to the parents to make sure their kids are, doing as best as they can on the fields that they're strong on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I still think maybe not 50-50, but definitely I can still say teachers do need to have a level of, what's the word? And I'm sympathetic to, because I know we've got teachers in the chat and that, but I'm sympathetic that obviously there's some kids are just like, they're demons. I can't. I hear it. I hear it fully, because I was around some of them, and occasionally I might have been one of them. But yeah, so I do hear it sometimes. That it was just like they're just too much. But there was somewhere, there are just sort of those kids who are like borderline on the cusp of, from straying off course and being able to actually, find themselves, who just need a teacher to make them feel like, oh, okay, no, like they're seen, and make them feel like, okay, they're willing to try and understand and help them in that sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, the same goes obviously with parents as well. Yeah, of course. Like I know, for me, anything that I can see my daughter excels in, I always try and push. So she's very she loves drawing and stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let's get as many arts and crafts.
Exactly.
And mess up the house as much as we can to let her, be as creative as she wants. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely let those things flourish. But at the same time, those 6, 7, 8 hours of the day where they're not with us and they're there, it's for that teacher to not then, take away from what we're cultivating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
Whereas that's what I feel like for me that happened a lot. Where there's loads of things where I loved like growing up as a kid, where school sort of just made me hate it.
Trust me.
You know what I mean?
Trust me.
So it's just like that's that balance I feel like you need.
I get you.
I want to ask you guys a question that I think, Brent, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, yeah? Is linked to where I think Brent wanted to go with the education thing. And this is incarceration rates, yeah? So men make up, obviously, the vast majority of prison population in the UK, right? As of 2021, yeah, men constituted around 95% of the prison population, according to the MOJ, right? Ministry of Justice. 95% of prisoners are men. Is that misandry? Is that stupid to say it's misandry? Because maybe, I don't know, society, men are typically the violent ones. Am I even contributing to misandry now by even stereotyping men as being the violent ones? You know what I'm saying? And then say, okay, cool, this is why we end up in these sort of places. Yeah.
I think it's too broad.
Cool.
But an argument could definitely be made that it is misandry, again, perpetuated by men to men.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you're going back to the cause again.
Yeah. I think we have to. I think it's still an important thing to instill in this conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I disagree with men arguing that misandry is exacerbated and perpetuated through women. It can be, but it's not the main
thing.
Yeah, it's not the real meat and potatoes of the issue.
The reason why I linked it to what Brent was saying is because Brent seemed to ask the question of, okay, cool, whose fault is it? Because if boys are being disruptive in class, how is that misandry if the teacher has to deal with it? These boys are just being disruptive in class. So that's contributing to them having poor grades and doing poorly in formal education anyway, right? When it comes to incarceration and stuff, it's the men that's doing the crimes. You know what I'm saying? So surely you can decide, depending on who you're talking to, not to do a crime or to do a crime. Why is it that women are not necessarily doing these sort of things? So the fact that we are arresting the criminals, 95% of which are men, that's the reason why they're in prison. Not because we're targeting men. You see what I'm saying? What's your views on that?
I had a whole different point that I wanted to say. Sorry. Sorry to digress. If we all can agree that we need to change the social norms that exist currently, that we can all argue exist because of men, in regards to misandry and all of that, and we want to break cultural norms, do you think homophobia, tell me to shut up now and we won't get into it, does homophobia play a part in misandry? So if we're saying, am I making sense?
Almost by definition,
Yeah,
has
it
to.
definitely does. Yeah, definitely does.
Yeah, 100%.
So because I feel like the whole men can't be emotional thing, I think some of that stems from homophobia as well as misogyny. I feel like they see it as men being too feminine, and to be too feminine means you're gay. And we don't like gays.
No,
It's basically...
I think that's...
No?
I hear you, but I think it's a bit of a reach.
Okay.
I don't think it has to be that. I think it could just be to be emotional means you're weak, and how do you lead your household?
But they usually...
Why do we have to bring in people who are gay?
But to say that someone's emotional
Yeah.
means that it's usually together with
the
being...
feminine
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but to be
So- and
feminine
then-
doesn't mean you're gay.
Hold on. Because if a man has a lot more feminine...
Traits.
Yeah, traits, for lack of a better word, like they move a bit more feminine than a man does, what are they deemed as?
Yeah, but that starts in the playground, isn't it? You don't say like you see it. Oh yeah, you're gay. This, that, and the thing. But I don't think it starts there. I don't think the root of this is homophobic.
No. I didn't say the root.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
saying
Just one of the.
I'm
one of the voices.
saying it's definitely a part that plays into.
I think it's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an aspect, yeah.
That plays into that. It plays into what's fueling misandry.
Yeah.
And then I guess that goes into a deeper thing of maybe cultural differences in the country that you're from, because obviously, depending on what country you're from, they're a lot more homophobic than the other. I just feel like,
or depending on where the country you're from, it's just we have certain roles for men and women, and if you go against it, then you're just going against those
cultural
ideas.
norms. Yeah.
Not homophobia.
No, but that,
some countries don't even care for homophobic discussions and stuff. We're not even thinking about that. It's more so men do this and women do this.
Let's ignore, for your argument's sake,
Yeah.
let's ignore cultural, religious.
Same thing.
It's not. Because in Islam, in Christianity,
Yeah.
Christianity, correct me if I'm wrong, is being homophobic, is being gay forbidden. It's a sin.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay. So, I don't know about Judaism off the top of my head, but it definitely in regards to Islam, also it is in Judaism. In the big three, it's seen as a sin.
Yeah.
Right? So let's disregard culture for a little bit.
Yeah.
In religion.
Yeah.
So could it be argued that religion then plays a part in misandry?
If you go,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can't. You have to say to an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the way the I shouldn't say characters, but the people who are in all these books. When you look at the tropes that some of the women are in terms of a whore, in terms of the manipulator, and whatnot, and then also like the caregivers and stuff like that. They're obviously playing to specific tropes and types of things in terms of women, and then vice versa with the men. Sort of pushing a certain a sort of way of how the men are, the sort of the leaders they are, and whatnot. When obviously we weren't there, but you'd assume there are many a woman who held a lot of the qualities a lot of those men had, but those are not, particularly spoken on as strongly, as prevalently, within those books.
but it's okay. So that's a religious thing, yeah. Is that what you're saying? And a cultural thing.
Yeah, I'd say it's both. Yeah.
Do you think some of these things? I don't want to take this outside of the sphere of what we're talking about, but some of these things we've picked up from the West. Because I would argue, as Africans, right, at least back in our culture when it was untampered with, right, we held our women in a particular regard that I think has been lost for centuries now because of our interaction with the West.
What regard is that?
What do you mean?
The thing you just said.
In the highest of regards.
The thing you just said.
In the highest of regards. because the African understands that we don't exist without black women. Period.
And how has the West now looked to disintegrate that or degrade that or change that?
I think a lot of the discussions about patriarchy and things, patriarchy being negative, I think it's from the West.
So
that's what I would argue.
What you're saying is that how it used to be is better than how it is now.
I think so. In many ways, I think.
In name a couple ways.
Okay, we deified our women in Africa, in African culture. We deified our women.
And the West basically
I don't know if they do
eroded that.
Basically.
How did they erode that?
Because they've made us think our traditions are demonic. And so if we hold a woman in high regard like that, if we say, cool,
explain that to me.
So, for example, if you look at Yoruba culture, right, we've got, for lack of a better term, I'll say Orisha, but people may say gods, right, who are female. So if we venerate these gods and hold them in high regard because of their contributions and how they've affected our lives, and just in the formation of our culture, how can we then look at a black woman who is basically the personification of that existence, right, as something that's bad or beneath us? It's impossible.
Okay.
How do you do that?
So what you're saying is that before the West got their hands into your culture, you all used to respect women.
I think, no, I don't say you're used to. We still do, right? But I think some things have definitely been eroded because of our interaction with the West. But at the same time, there are some things that today we will see as misogyny that still takes place in our culture that would have still been there regardless of our interaction with the white people.
Give me an example.
I mean, today, for example, people may say stuff like about, gender roles. The fact that you may want women to maybe stick within those constraints and men stick within certain constraints is misogyny by definition. Because you're not allowing the woman to be free to express herself and be her, right? So that's prevalent in our culture too.
Say that again.
You heard me.
I know I didn't.
Okay, cool.
Did you understand what you said?
I think so.
I don't understand what I said.
Did you understand what you said?
I think.
Now,
I think I followed.
repeat it in your own words.
So you're saying that basically misogyny and misandry is part of why there's both good and bad in terms of gender roles, where it's like a woman can and should be allowed to express herself outside of certain gender roles and also within certain gender roles, but because of misogyny and misandry, it gets looked upon a certain way. So like, if she wants to do things that are quote unquote looked as manly, she'll get demonized by one side, and then if she wants to do things that are quote unquote deemed as, quote unquote feminine, she's demonized by the other side in terms of, being too much of a feminine as well.
I wouldn't say necessarily too much she's being too feminine, but just in terms of like today, for example, you wouldn't limit your daughter if she wanted to express herself in certain ways, or be whoever she wants to do, and be in any career, things of that nature. But back home, those limitations are there. You know what I'm saying? That would have been there irrespective of our interaction with the West. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So that part of misogyny is there. But I'm also saying that there are parts where we edified and revered our women that's been taken away because of our interaction with the West. That's what I'm talking about. So, for example, when you mentioned earlier about women not seen as being strong, right? And that's not in our culture.
Yeah, facts. That's true.
Yah Santiwa led the Ashanti Empire.
Sorry. You said it's true. What's true?
No, that we've had many women leaders, warriors in Africa throughout history, but that sort of, has been erased, for lack of a better word, in terms of our history. But there are many a woman leader and many section of women warriors and whatnot who are, looked upon as, looked upon, quote unquote, above men in our times. Oh, not our times, in those times, I should say.
Do you blame the West for the way black men treat black women back home, Ed?
To an extent, yeah.
Talk to me.
I think you have to sort of, look at everything we see as, be it from social media, be it television, whatever it may be. It's the West's projection of what the world looks like or what the world should look like. And everybody, in some way, shape or form, like or not, wants to be like the West, for the most part. Not, we won't, because I know there's very strong nations who are very much like, no, we'll never follow how the West move. But for the vast majority, I feel like of the world, it sort of tries to keep up with the West in some way, shape or form. So even in terms of societally, the roles of men and women, I think that's the same way, where, you see, women in Africa, talking about men in terms of, like the same way you see them talking about in these like what's that film, that balloon popping thing, where it's like, that concept of just like
find love or pop a balloon.
Yeah, that whole even that concept, where you see it like that, from at least from my experiences from the women I've grown up around, like the concept of even thinking in the way some of those women think is not something that any majority of women are raised with, back home, But the way society has shifted, the way the world has become so open, that mentality, is now become a thing where, okay, that's seeped in and become part of culture within Africa, even though it's not, quote unquote, traditionally, how people were raised. You know what I mean?
So the example you gave was what?
So I was
balloon popping?
Yeah, I was using that just as that.
Explain.
So just like, that whole thing of, the whole thing of women looking at men in terms of purely, the amount of money you got in your bank account, for instance. That sort of mentality of just like, what can you give me as opposed to what we bring to each other.
All right. So I think I understand what you're saying. So back in the day, the days in which it is that you prefer, women wouldn't look to be so superficial when looking for a mate, or their expectations and standards wouldn't be past where it should be.
I'm sure to an extent there may have been some of that, but as it don't go, yeah, for the most part, no. Yeah, I feel like for the most part, there was no set, ideals of like, oh, well, this man has to have this and something like that. It was more a thing of this, does he come from a good home? How does he treat you? How respectful is he to your family? How is he respected within your community? As opposed to, and then obviously in same goes with you on your end, where you have to have the same, bring the same thing in terms of, that in those same aspects. Whereas now, a woman could, in many cases, a woman can feel like, I don't have to bring anything, I don't have to be a certain way. My goal is just to, find, whatever it may be.
All right, so the West has changed women's outlook, not how men now look to see women.
I think
because in them women being affected and conditioned by the West, they're now seeking other things from the man. And then, in that sense, the man is now looking to resent the woman for doing that. Is that?
In some cases, yeah, I'd say to an extent. But I would also say, it's that, yeah, there's definitely an element of, in men as well, where it is a thing of, definitely with men too, there's a level of the superficiality of the West in men as well, where it's a thing of they're looking for trophies as opposed to, looking for a caregiver, looking for a nurturer, looking for whatever. Maybe they're just looking for, is she, what's she looking like? Is it really
question?
How does she make me look?
Question. This is to yourself also, Emmanuel. Have women always been happy with their lot in life in your culture? Because you're saying that y'all always used to venerate women. You always used to deify them, right?
Yeah.
So they were always feeling that, right?
I don't know if they were always feeling that. Because remember, it's just like...
Why I'm saying it's important to note this baseline is because you said that the West has now changed that.
Yeah.
So there must have been a time where before the West came in, they were loving their station. They were loving how it was.
I think when the black man and the black woman are living in alignment with their culture, their community, and their God, then of course there's going to be a high percentage of that community happy and content. But you're always going to find people within any demographic who are not necessarily happy, because there's more to an individual than one particular factor. You know what I'm saying? So
what I'm kind of getting at is, has there been misogyny and patriarchy rife in African culture?
I think it's
your culture.
I think
let me just say African culture, Nigerian culture.
I think it's always been everywhere. I think it's always been.
I'm just focused on your culture.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, they would have been.
And women were happy?
I wouldn't say they would have been happy.
Because you were saying that they were venerated.
We've got so many different examples in Ifa traditions of women not being happy with their men. And so they went and did this. And so then the community, we learned that we shouldn't do this to women. So we've kept record of these things so that we can make communities better, so we can make our culture better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that things were perfect. I'm not one of those people who like to romanticize stuff and just live in some fairy tale land. No. But what I am saying is a lot of the things that you do see in Africa, some of those things wouldn't exist if not for our interaction with the West. That's what I'm saying. Especially when it comes to how we hold our women. You look at any culture, let me not say any, but many African cultures, when they look at the people that they worship and give praise to, you'll see a man there and you will see a woman there. It's just a fact. There are people who worship Oshun, Yemoja. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are women. It's present there. I never see that in the West. You might need to go back to Viking days, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just talking about African culture here. But obviously with our interaction with the West and a lot of us changing our belief systems and turning our back on our cultures, we forget those things. You know what I'm saying? and the evils of patriarchy are able to just have a field day.
All right.
So yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, I think we kind of need to wrap it up. But
I think that's
basically,
fun.
yeah,
like
I
that.
was just gonna say, what's your last?
I like that. I
Last
think.
words.
To be honest, I think we kind of sidetracked with the whole Western society and stuff. I feel like we're, as much as we don't want to say it, I feel like religion is a bigger part. I feel like religion plays a way, way, way bigger part in misogyny than we would like to discuss. I feel like the Eve came from a rib. I feel like people's interpretations of their religious books allow them to believe that women are insuperior, and they treat them as such because that's what it says in the book that I follow religiously.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's prevalent in a lot of the countries that we see, especially the religious ones.
Three.
Yeah.
So is the problem with the religion and not necessarily people that's a bit carrying out the belief systems of the religion? Because essentially that's what you're saying.
It's yeah. I believe it's more so the interpretation of people. I believe when they said, for example, from the Bible where it says the Eve came from the rib.
Yeah.
That from what I saw from someone who studied the Bible and the religious text that was there at that time, there was no other word for where she actually came from. They just went for rib because they went for rib, and then people interpreted that as an actual rib. I think there are two different words for rib in the Bible. Don't ask me which one. But his interpretation, I'll try and find it and send it to you. But his interpretation was that the rib isn't what the general populace have found. If that makes sense. It actually came from another thing. But yeah, I'm saying the interpretation of the studies is demonized and it's used to fuel misogyny.
Okay. All right. We got a caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Murad.
Good morning. Yes,
Morning.
Murad.
How are you?
All good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Just enjoying the summer holidays and everything else. So
Good.
yeah. I just wanted to make a quick point. I know you're obviously about to close the conversation, so I won't make it any longer than necessary. But you spoke about teachers and you spoke about black boys or black men in university. I myself, I'm a teacher. I teach. I've taught in predominantly schools where the role is most of the kids are of African and Caribbean descent. I've tutored children privately. I'm from South London, and I've been teaching for the best part of 10 years. 10 years. So I say all of that to say that from my observations and from my experience, I think there's a growing desire for our children to make money. I don't know where that stemmed from. I don't know how they've been exposed to almost this addiction to want to make money, to want to make a grown man's money at an earlier age. They have a desire for that, coupled with the declining importance of university. For all intents and purposes, we can have productive conversations about why university probably isn't the best route for some people and why there are other alternative solutions. But when you couple those two things together, you then begin to start to answer the question of, well, why are our black boys, our black men not going to university? I don't think it's a simple solution. Like they're not interested or they don't have the money, because most of the times it's funded by student loans and everything else. I do think you need to start looking much earlier, and I can say that with an unfortunate tone, because I have seen elements of we wouldn't call it misandry and misogyny to them, but I have seen rhetorics come out from children as young as 11 that we would deem either misandrist or misogynistic. I had a child who, I'm not going to say the name or the school or anything else, but she had an issue with a boy. She had an altercation. And whilst I was trying to calm her down and talk to her, she said, oh, and that's why all men are trash. And I was like, well, first and foremost, obviously I had to negate it and nip it in the bud. And secondly, I had to have the conversation with the parent and say, this is what your daughter has said. And it's not for me to question where it's come from, but just to let you know that was said. I know what it generally means. I know where probably it stemmed from. But it was a very surreal experience for me because I would have thought these type of conversations were had or they were exposed to people of our age. I didn't expect it to filter down to people who are 2 decades younger than us, people born in the mid 2000s. So from a professional perspective, I can begin to understand the deeper rooted issues and the long-term ramifications of misogyny and misandry, especially as clearly our children are being exposed to it. They might not be exposed to it explicitly, but they're seeing it. Where they're seeing it, I can't put a finger on it, but I can definitely tell you from what having taught in the last 10 years that they're very much going to grow up with this or these rhetorics, and it's going to impact their relationships with one another far greater than it is impacting ours.
Are you primary school or secondary school?
Primary.
So that child that said that, how old were they?
Year 6.
They're on the internet though. They're on social media.
Yeah, most likely, but I mean, it could be stuff that they've heard from home, or from older cousins, or family relatives. It could be it could be so many different sources. But as like I said, I think it's very harrowing to know that our children and the children that we all so care about and wish to be the next future generation of leaders and everything else are almost growing up with a head start in their attitudes towards one another. And for all intents and purposes, people think I'm team Kevin, like in the chat and everything else. I'm really not. I'm just team everyone, really, and I call out things on both sides. But I've seen, for me, I'm a bit worried because it's almost like they're getting a head start in how they think of the opposite sex, and it's not a good look. Put it that way.
Yo, Murad, I might actually have to. You might have to send me your details because if you're in South London and you're a tutor, I might need you for my son still.
Yeah, don't worry. If you just drop me an email or I'll message you on one of your social media apps.
Yeah, message me.
Yeah, but like I said, love the show. You do what you're doing. And take it easy, brothers.
Thank you for the call, man.
Thank you. All right, people. Due to time, we do have to move on from there, man. But yeah.
That was good, man. I like that, though.
Beautiful. Thank you, TDA fan, who submitted that topic of the day.
Really good.
Let's go into our headlines.
Okay, Victim Emmanuel. I'm clipping you up, by the way.
Who?
Yeah, I thought so.
You?
Yeah, he says gonna clip me up, but that makes sense because I didn't. It was all the other aspects, other than the face value stuff that made me think. Wait, hold on, that's mad. But yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. That was
I'm saying to you, man. All right, so our next headline, and this is something that we somewhat mentioned anyway, and this is about what happened on ITV the other day. So ITV's Good Morning Britain faced a surge of complaints exceeding 8,200 following its controversial episode on Monday. So the episode featured 2 contentious interviews, one between presenter Ed Balls and his wife, the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, raising concerns about conflict of interest, and another with Labour MP Zara Sultana. Well, she's no longer a Labour MP, is she? She's an independent, right? I believe so.
Good.
Criticised for its confrontational tone. So the interview sparked outrage amongst viewers, with many expressing their disapproval on social media. The interview with Cooper was deemed baffling and absurd due to the familial connection between the interviewer and the interviewee, while the exchange with Sultana was criticised for its perceived hostility. Yep. He was cutting her off.
Yeah, did you watch it?
Place. Yeah, I did.
She wasn't able to get words in edgeways at all.
But at the same time, I got to be fair, I feel like he was trying to make her answer certain questions, and she didn't seem to want to answer certain questions.
Of course you can't answer questions if someone's interrupting you.
Both of them were getting on to her. So it was difficult because once she was trying to answer the question from one of them, the other one would just chime in saying. So that's very debilitating.
100%.
And they all laughed at her. It was a group of all these people laughing at her.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, man. But anyway, ITV defended the interviews, saying that they were balanced, fair, and duly impartial. Ofcom, which is the media regulator, confirmed that they were assessing They are assessing the complaints against their broadcasting rules, but have yet to decide on an investigation. Next headline takes us to Israel, where Haifa's underground hospital, which is built after the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war, stands ready to convert from a multi-story car park into a 2,000-bed medical facility within 3 days. As the threat of regional war looms following the deaths of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders, doctors express preparedness but hope for a swift resolution to any escalation. Haifa's proximity to Lebanon and Hezbollah's rockets raises concerns amongst some residents, while others remain less anxious. But despite tensions, Haifa's mayor emphasizes the city's peaceful coexistence of Israeli Arabs and Jews and expresses hope for diplomatic solutions. Hope for diplomatic solutions? Okay, I like the answer. And our last headline, Shamima Begum, she's back in the news, man.
I can't lie, I'm so fucking sick of hearing about her. I can't lie.
Well, she's 24. And for those who don't know, she was the woman who traveled to Syria as a teenager to join the Islamic State group. She has now lost her final attempt to challenge the UK government's decision to revoke her British citizenship on national security grounds. This is what we talked about the other day, about who is English, who's British. Could they revoke Billy's citizenship down the road? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Billy went, you know what I'm saying?
No, they could probably put him on like a watch list and he can't come back. Maybe.
But they can't just revoke it.
Nah, not like that. Not in the way they've done it to her.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, the Supreme Court ruled that Begum's case did not raise any arguable points of law and dismissed her bid for permission to appeal against her earlier Court of Appeal ruling. The decision marks the end of Begum's legal options within the UK legal system. Begum's lawyers have indicated that they will now take her case to the ECHR, the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, arguing that the process to deprive her of British citizenship should have considered whether she was a potential victim of trafficking. Human rights organisations have criticised the UK government's decision to strip Begum of her citizenship, describing it as profoundly wrong and calling for the repatriation of British families in similar situations. Do you guys feel like it should be seen as, okay, you know what, she's a victim of human trafficking, and okay, cool. So, it's time to pay them bills. And move on to People's Journal. All right, people. Welcome to the People's Journal. I'll give you the news from an economics point of view. There isn't much to talk about today, man.
My screen keeps on flickering.
Yeah, it does.
Are you using the plug over there?
Me, no.
Are you using the plug over there?
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, take that out, please. Just looking for opportunity to basically check things. I don't want your headphones or earphones. It should be charged by now anyway. You got enough juice in that.
So you just done that, just take the thing?
No, I want to see if it's connected because that's where my camera is.
That'd be funny.
Like I said, there isn't much to talk about today, you know. There was an article. It's not really economics like that, but like I always say, economics is life and life is economics. So everything is pretty much economics, you know what I'm saying? This particular article, this is about egg donor compensation, right, in the UK, and how donors are being warned against doing it just for the money, right? Apparently, the compensation for egg donors in the UK will increase from £750 to £986 on the 1st of October. It's the first rise in over a decade.
So these are women giving their eggs?
Basically.
Okay.
It's illegal to pay someone for their eggs in the UK. You know that?
It's illegal?
It's illegal.
Okay.
Hence compensation being paid. So this is how you kind of get around it. So the compensation is to cover the expenses.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But obviously, you just kind of lump it in. But yeah, long story short, that's going to be rising from £750 to £986 on the 1st of October. And yeah, man, the UK currently has a shortage of egg donors, particularly from black and ethnic minority backgrounds. This is what the regulator said.
Is that still the case with blood donation as well?
I'm not too sure.
I remember hearing a while ago, years ago, that there's a certain blood type that only
that's low. Yeah, I think that's still the case. Yeah, that's still the case. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. I don't know if there's a potential topic of the day there that we should be discussing. Especially, we'd love to hear the women in our community speak about that. But yeah, the UK currently has a shortage of egg donors, and donors have been warned against doing it for the money because obviously, I guess it's only £986, and I guess there's other things that come with that. You know what I'm saying? Next thing I wanted to talk about is Disney. So Disney have reported that they've returned to profit after their streaming service made money for the first time, and also the success of Inside Out 2. Remember the other day I mentioned...
You mentioned it was...
Yeah, that's the biggest, right?
Yeah, that they done well.
Yes. So yeah, man, Inside Out 2 got released over the summer, and it's the highest grossing animated film of all time. Yeah, so it helped the company reach £200 million in earnings before interest and tax from content sales and licensing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's put them back into the black. So yeah. And the last thing, I feel like
Still
you can say
boycotting them
something.
though.
Oh, Disney, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're feeling your protest, man.
Yeah.
I apologize for my contribution to that one. Sorry, Ramsey.
And if you can pirate it, allegedly, if you can pattern it in a certain way, then do that. But I'm not supporting Disney.
All right. And the last thing I want to mention is mortgage rates. Barclays are looking to cut their mortgage rates. I think it's from today, actually. They're making cuts to a selection of their products across their residential purchase, remortgage, and reward ranges from tomorrow. So, guys, if you're with Barclays and maybe you're due to remortgage, whatever it may be, or you're with another bank, look at Barclays. They may have something that will interest you. The most notable rate change will be their 5-year fixed rate, right? And this is for home buyers with a 60% loan to value ratio. You know what I'm saying? It's quite a lot, but still. That particular rate is 3.84%.
That's really good.
3.84%. Again, 60% LTV. And there is a product fee as well of just under £900, £899. The previous rate for that product was 4.04. You know what I'm saying? The 2-year fixed rate, that's decreased from 4.61 to 4.43. So yeah, so bear that in mind as well. But yeah, Barclays, and it seems like some other banks as well.
Halifax.
Yeah, I mentioned a few.
If you've got a good mortgage broker, they should be running you through these numbers.
Yeah, that is true. But also, I guess be mindful as well, because like I mentioned yesterday, Halifax also reported that because the base rate, the base rate has gone down, property values will start to go up because people start to buy again. You know what I'm saying? So if you are thinking, cool, I want to save more money, or I'm hoping for the base rate to continue to go down, chances are the prices for the properties will also go up in it. So you got to weigh out what's best for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the People's Journal today, man. Let's get into the rotation.
Yes, welcome everyone to my favorite part of the show, the rotation, where we discuss my favorite subject, music. So we've got, there was a fair bit that dropped last week, and I chose 3 to talk about. I will run you through the drops, bear with me. So we've had Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign Vultures 2, Vibes Cartel's mixtape First Week Out, Navy Blues, Memoirs and Armor, JPEG Mafia, I Laid Down My Life For You, Khalid, Sincere, and Killer Mike, Songs for Saints and Sinners. Now, out of those albums, I've decided to go for, we had to, unfortunately, Vultures 2, which I really didn't want to listen to, Vibes Cartel's mixtape, obviously, because he's just come out, and JPEG Mafia's I Lay Down My Life For You. Now, we're starting with the Kanye album, and I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5.
All right.
That's how Brent wants me to start with the ratings first, isn't it?
That's because you paused, innit? So,
Brent, what are you saying?
I give it 2.5.
One of these days, I'm going to get 1 out of you, I swear. One of these days. What about you, Ed?
Yeah, I was going to say I'll give it a 2.
2, yeah? All right, cool.
Where's your microphone?
Yeah, sorry, 2 out of 5.
All right.
Yeah, 2 out of 5.
I'm gonna give this album as much attention as Kanye gave it, and that's none at all. None at all. I don't even want to give it time. It took a while to release, and even with the late release, it was still unfinished. Samples weren't cleared, vocals weren't done to the point that it still sounded like demos. My favorite track, the whole album, is 530. Is allegedly a YouTube rip. So it's a YouTube rip, and it wasn't even finished. Towards the latter end of the song, it's literally 3 minutes of Kanye mumbling to himself. And it's usually what rappers do when they're trying to get a flow for the song. They'll go in with the instrumental, mumble a few things, and then go back to rehash it with the bars. So it starts off really, really nice. It starts off as one of Kanye's, I don't know, I'd probably say Pablo sound type thing. But then it ends in just utter shit. He also allegedly used an AI voice of himself on Sky City. So that's a rapper using the AI version of himself to rap on a song. The mixing was shit, vocals weren't done, and he's still completing the album in real time. So the album will carry on getting rehashed on the DSPs, but we're forced to listen to the first, second, third draft of just shit. To be honest, I think it was a waste of Ty Dolla $ign's time. I think he's too talented for that shit. I would have rathered another Free TC or a Beach House than this nonsense. But I've genuinely got nothing to say to this album. If he won't put the effort in, I won't put the effort in. Kanye is continually devolving into what we know him to be. I feel like there's a direct sound correlation when he dropped Mike Dean. As soon as Mike Dean stopped mixing and mastering his shit, and he started to get any randomer doing it, his sound, everything is just sounded like utter garbage. But because it's Kanye, we're still going to go back and listen to it for whatever reason.
How long ago did you get rid of Mike Dean?
I think Life of Pablo, off the top of my head. And we all heard what happened with Life of Pablo. Again, he did the same thing where he dropped it, rehashed it in real time. I don't believe he used Mike Dean off the top of my head since probably Yeezus. And as much as people don't like Yeezus, you can still hear the mix and the mastering difference between that and Vultures 1, Vultures 2, and Life of Pablo. Brent, would you like to add anything or probably add a different take?
Before Brent says anything, Ed, what do you think?
So
You've got your notes there, right?
yeah,
My God.
Come on.
My God.
study for the test.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll try not to repeat the things Ramsey said.
No, you can do it, please.
But yeah,
Please.
so in terms of production, you know, many good elements, but sadly too much unfinished. Mixing wasn't great. You know, there are a lot of nice concepts, but yeah, like I'd rather review some of these tracks in 6 months when he's, you know,
Really?
when he's had time to go back over it and fix it up a bit. I'd rather hear it again. But yeah, there's well, not all of it. Let me not say all of it. There's probably about 6 or 7 songs on there that I'd be like,
Damn, that's a fair few, you know?
yes, that's it. If he goes back and fixes it up, I'd be willing to go listen to them again.
Okay. So you're a proper Kanye fan?
Wow.
Proper Kanye fan is a stretch.
Because the
You
reason
see
I
what
say
he
that
does, though?
is if you as an artist who I've been supporting disrespects me with shit, I'm not going to respect you by going back to it. Because this shows a clear lack of respect for his fans and the people that follow him. Even his ardent fans of the first Vultures are saying this is bullshit. And now we can see that Kanye, his fall from grace is insane. He's showing a lack of, he doesn't care. And this is a result of him not caring. So it's interesting to me that you still go back. I won't. I'm starting to be done with him. Unless he releases another fucking graduation or college dropout, which is impossible because he's not. Personally, I don't think he's all there.
Yeah, no, I hear it.
I think losing Kim was the straw that brought the camel's back.
Yeah, I hear it. I think the only reason why I'd be willing to sort of go back to it is because I actually, you know, much to my surprise at the time, I actually liked Vultures 1. So I was like, okay, Vultures 1 was, you know, pretty solid. So I think purely because I was like, all right, I know he can, in that space with Ty, they can make some really good music that I'm willing to go back and, like I said, for the half dozen or so songs that I liked on there, or liked to an extent, I'd be willing to go back and hear what's happened when he's, you know, gone back over them and fixed them up a bit. But yeah, like, I did like a couple of the features on there I liked. I did like Thug's feature. I did like Wayne.
Okay.
I did like Wayne's feature on there. But yeah, I think like you say, for me, Ty's talents are wasted on there. I feel like he went hard on the tracks. So I can't lie.
He was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Whenever I heard Ty, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, some of the tracks was cold out. That he was when he's having his moments. But
For
yeah,
real.
I feel like it just made me, like you say, it made me more be hyped up for the next solo Ty project.
100%.
As opposed to being hyped up for this.
100%. I feel like I personally don't care how much you're going to use Ty Dolla $ign's brother to sing or get Kanye West's children to sing. It's not going to fix up the album for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't it. Brent, please.
All right, so
Enlighten us.
Slide, I said was nice. Time moving slow, nice track. Fried, I just put Fried. I didn't put any commentary next to that.
Cool.
Promotion was nice.
He's released another. Just released. I think either this morning or last night. Promotions version 2.
Okay, cool. Strangely, Forever felt and sounded like an Ice Spice number.
Okay, so in Brent's words, for everyone else, that's disrespect, and I like that.
River, at 2:56, the song really begins. It sounds like Leon Bridges' River.
Okay.
5:30, what a beautiful sample. Shame about the ending. Sounds like he wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with the track. And then I have Dead, Forever Rolling, Sky City, and My Soul. I've just put it down. I haven't put any notes next to it.
Okay.
So maybe there were elements of those tracks that I liked, but wasn't enough to basically say, let me commit a comment next to this.
Okay. As brief as it was, 070 Shake's feature on Sky City, I really liked. Kanye needs to let her go. I really, really like 070 Shake. And I feel like she's held back through this Kanye disease that he likes to do, where he's just literally leeching off Ty, 070 Shake, Sci-Hi the Prince. All these people are just Pusha T's too strong for that. He ain't doing that. Yeah. He ain't doing that. But I feel like that she's very talented and she needs space to be herself, because her sound is so completely different to everything else, and we need more of that. But I think that wraps up that piece of shit. Next album is Vybz Kartel's first week out. All right, so this is the first mixtape from Vybz since he's been released. Features Just Squash. Rating. Purely on numbers, I'd have to give this mixtape a 2 out of 5.
Hold up. This and boom. And
Then explain why.
2. And I'll put
3.5. Okay, cool.
yes.
So, I get to the issues I had with the album. Towards the beginning, I heard a couple of... Actually, I'll give you the tracks, but yeah. So, it gets into Feel Great, which is just the intro, yeah? Then it goes into The Menace. Now, The Menace is a nicey bars, so Vybz just spitting, right? It goes quite well, but then it goes into the next track, which is Terror by Night. And I didn't like it. It sounded like it wasn't mixed properly. I didn't like the chorus at all. Unstoppable, again, it's quite. What I found was a lot of the choruses were quite repetitive and not in a good way. But Skillful, one of my favorite tracks. I think that track's hard. How do you say it? Adiad King? Bars again. Giant is another one of my favorite songs. I for the most part, bared with the mixtape, but it's still teething problems. I'm unsure as whether he done it while he was incarcerated or literally as he came out. But I feel like it's definitely a good exercise of him, especially since he's dealing with Graves' disease as well, to come out.
Why are you factoring that in?
Because I feel like it could play, his health could definitely play a part. So I feel like let him settle into freedom, and when he releases a proper album, I'm definitely going to listen to it. But this mixtape, if anything, to me, is a big highlight of Squash's ability. And I feel like Squash needs a lot more love, because he killed his features. His choruses allowed me to stick to the song. That Giant chorus is fucking live. I saved that track. I really, really like Squash on this mixtape. Ed, what are you saying? What did you rate it? Sorry.
Me, I give it about 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ain't been a vibes guy for a while. So I ain't gonna lie. So it took me a second to sort of
Where you from, Ed?
catch the vibes. Oh, Sierra Leone.
All right, cool. Where you from, Ramsey?
Me,
Yeah.
Morocco.
All right, cool.
Yes, I don't know if we can hear the music like you hear it, Brent. I don't know.
No,
To hear it like-
wait till you get to me.
But I was gonna say, as a whole, but the mixtape gave me like barbecue vibes, like sort of like something you play in the background of the barbecue,
Yeah.
where you're chefing up whatever you're doing. There's a few tracks where like I definitely saved those onto my playlist. Skillful, one of them. Menace was another one. I did like the chorus on Giant, but I didn't like the rest of Giant.
Really?
Like,
I really liked it.
I did like the chorus, but not the rest of Giant.
He's an Ed for the goal, Pogba. I thought that was hard.
Beat them bad. I like that. Yeah.
He killed that shit. Squash killed that shit.
Squash was cold. Man.
Hard.
Yeah, I've definitely what's the word? Added into my
Trust me.
artists. Yeah, I've artists to follow now.
Yeah.
Number one as well. I like that one at the end. But yeah, overall, it was a nice vibe. No pun intended. But it felt a bit like the records felt very much like from what I've been told, some of the records were like throwaways from previous projects
see.
as well.
Okay.
So it didn't sound like as cohesive as I'd like it to sound.
Yeah, I get you.
You can hear certain bits where his vocals sound a much more crisp than
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like I want to hear what his sound has become when he actually pulls out a project.
Word. I'm excited for you actually.
But it was calm. I'm definitely one that definitely one I'd have on in the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? If the sun stays out for the remaining weeks.
Word, Brent.
All right, so full transparency. This is my first introduction to Vibes Cartel.
Sorry? No, genuinely, I didn't hear what you said.
Full transparency.
You're not getting the dun. What are you doing? What's that?
For full transparency.
No, he won't do it to himself.
Hold up.
Cool.
I don't listen to Bashment. I've never listened to
you said
Bashment.
that. I remember you saying
Ever.
that actually.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would listen to soca. You understand? So I'm coming in this completely
Blind.
a virgin, right? And I get why it is that people love this guy so much. Like, I really get it. So I give it 3.5. The Menace. The flow is immaculate. Again, virgin experience here, right?
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Terror by Night. Wonderful gospel
Terror
tune.
by Night.
Wonderful gospel tune.
Okay.
It's probably not gospel, but it's wonderful.
That's all.
He talked about God a lot. Nicely. Unstoppable. Woyoy. Again, the flow is immaculate. Skillful. Smooth sound. Adia King. Giant. Victorious. Beast Then Bad. And Win. I've put down here, but no notes next to it.
Really? Okay, cool. It's very interesting. You're saying that that's your first introduction to Vibes, because I feel like if you were to hear his very, very popular shit, even like his super underground shit, you would see why I probably feel the way I feel about this, because it's, again, you laughed at the whole Graves Disease thing, but I feel like it might have an effect on his energy, because usually on tracks from before, he's wild.
Why I laughed is because isn't it going to get worse?
Yeah, but he got it while dealing with it in prison, so he probably wasn't getting the care he needed in prison.
No, what you said, I hope that what you hear now is going to get better.
Yes.
But if he's got Graves' disease, isn't it going to deteriorate his health?
Yeah, well, yeah, by what it is, but he could get better care, better medicine while he's out with the money he has. He could have been limited in prison. We don't know what he was going through. I feel like there is no way but up now, because he's out. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I have high hopes, genuinely.
Yeah.
Mark, stamp this. His next thing is going to be fucking crazy. Because the amount of people that want to collaborate with him, the amount of money he's got behind him, what he's going to do for the economy in Jamaica, I think Vibes is going to be crazy big.
Vibes and Ashake.
Wild. But I think Drake is going to get his...
Drake's
Drake is already on his line.
Put the mic close to the mic, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Drake's
ready.
So Central C might be.
Don't lean forward to make
Push
yourself
it, push it,
uncomfortable.
pull it.
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, Central C might be, trying to get his line.
You know, I don't have an issue with Central C, personally. I haven't delved into his stuff properly, but I feel like a lot of people have an issue with Central C, and no one can argue with the fact that Central C has now put London on the map. As much as people don't want to agree with it, they can't, but they can't disagree with what I just said. He has done loads for London currently in this day and age. But yeah, you're right. Central C 100% going to be.
I need to hear him and Skilly bang at least one time.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But him and Vibes and Popcorn ain't.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
They're not fucking with each other at the
same
moment, innit? Yeah. That was the first installment, a little appetizer, if you will.
Oh, I've heard Summertime. I've heard the tracks. I've heard some of the songs that people... I would people tell you, that's a Vibes Cartel track.
You would.
Or some of our other track.
You would.
No, don't say that.
You would.
I will disappoint you.
Sound, just sonically.
I will
their
disappoint
voices.
you. I would say, I know that
I have
track.
high hopes for you.
I know that track, but I won't be like, that's Vibes. And that's Mavado, and that's Beanie Man. To be honest, I know Beanie Man.
Beanie Man,
Man's
yeah.
very, very...
But even Elephant Man and Beanie Man's voice, you'd be like, I know the difference. Mavado and Vibes are so fucking slightly different.
I love the fact that you have so much faith in me.
I
don't
do.
listen to this music.
Okay, all right.
I don't consume it.
You need to listen.
I've heard it. I've heard it. That's not how it goes.
Get the oats. That song's get the sopply gen. That song's hard. Oh my days. That song's fucking shit. That song's hard.
Does it go off in Moroccan house parties, yeah?
Huh?
Does it go off in the Moroccan house parties?
Yeah, crazy. Dirty wine, all that. Wild. All played on drums and other random rocking instruments.
Yeah, couscous.
Yeah. Couscous and cinnamon and mint tea. Next album
Right.
is JPEG Mafia's I Lay Down My Life For You. Now, this album is... What's the word you use? I like the word you used. Alternative?
Yeah, we've got alternative.
Yeah. It's very, very, very alternative. I'll be honest, I've never delved into a JPEG, Peggy's album, properly. So this is my first proper installment of Peggy's work. I know his songs, I've never gone into his albums. I think I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Upon first listen, it may go down, may go up. But I give it... Is everything all right, Brent?
What?
I can't see the ratings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Screen's gone.
You see it now?
Yeah. All right.
This is the first time you lot have agreed on the song.
Oh, he hasn't put his rating up.
You just did.
Is that your rating, Brent?
Are you all right?
I just thought it was that. Wasn't that the thing from Vibes? I thought you gave Vibes 3.5.
I did.
Oh, okay. Mad. All right.
Hey.
Damn, we agree. So there's 14 songs under an hour, which is short for Peggy. He's been teasing it for a while. This album has a lot of rock influence, a lot of guitar riffs, which I fucked with, as well as his disjointed samples, distorted sound, which he's also known for. Starts off very strong. Definitely gives you a taste of his music straight from the first track, which is I scream this in the mirror to myself before I interact. Which transitions into his single Sin Miendo, which he released, I believe, just over a week ago. I wasn't a fan of I'll Be Right There. It's quite jarring. It's dark and hell is hot. Obviously, a DMX nod. Was co-produced by a prolific Brazilian funk producer, DJ Ramemes. I might be saying that wrong. Brazilian funk is blowing up at the moment. I don't know if you lot have clocked. Brazilian funk is definitely doing rounds.
It's all I play in the gym.
Is it? I don't blame you, man. It's proper. It's proper. Ex-military, which he speaks, ex-military, which is a track, sorry. He speaks upon his previous history with being in the military. It's also a Death Grips nod. Either On or Off the Drugs seems to be a fan favorite from what I'm seeing. Don't Put Anything in the Bible, which has the singer in the beginning, I think it's believed the first 2 minutes, is actually Steven Spielberg's daughter. Which is nuts. She kills that shit. My favorite song of the whole album is Vulgar Display of Power. Now, for the viewers, yeah, this is extremely alternative, right? Peggy samples stuff, and the whole sound of it being disjointed is on purpose. I'm gonna look at the camera. is on purpose. This is his shit. He does that on purpose. I have no idea why. I remember there's a famous interview of him saying he used to pay people to mix and master his shit to sound shit. So now he just does it himself. His music back then was extremely disjointed. It still is disjointed now. It just sounds slightly better. But for some reason, I really, really like this album on the basis that it's nice to have something that's somewhat cohesive. I know that's an oxymoron. That's somewhat cohesive and creative amidst all this basic shit. I really, really liked this album. I think it might grow on me, but there's sounds on it that I like. The rock influence is something that I really, really like. Now, in contrast to my wife, she thinks it's an utter piece of shit and it's scare the women music. I don't blame her. It definitely is. But it's a gym. If there's ever a gym album, it's this album. Even just based on the first track. Running or going to the gym, this is my shit. What are you saying, Ed?
Yeah, so we're going to say across the board then, because I was 3.5 as well. So across the board, 3.5s. I got into him through one of my young cousins. He put me on, a couple years back. I liked his sound because he sort of gave me like Tyler vibes, like some of his earlier stuff.
I get what you're saying.
Like, yeah, so like Cherry Bomb Tyler, that sort of Wolf Tyler, that type of time.
Yep.
Yeah, he gave me sort of those vibes, and I was really a fan of that. So that's how I got into him. And yeah, with a lot of his stuff on this album, it very much feels, like I say, very intentionally distorted, but like it still manages to work. It still flows in together. It doesn't feel like it's it still feels very cohesive. Even though it's very
you understand what he's trying to do. You see the vision.
Yeah, and also, a common theme with some of his tracks, I feel like it feels very like cinematic. Like in my head, I feel like I can picture scenes in movies where this goes and scores where this goes. Like I don't know if he does it intentionally or not, but that's how I sort of take in his music. I sort of picture it almost like movie soundtracks in my head, sort of like picturing cool different scenes
100%
in my head when I'm hearing it. Yeah, definitely gym vibes, definitely workout vibes.
Them songs will get you to the last rep.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely not. I'm not sitting in the car with the little one. On the way to,
no way. Although my son likes a couple. Likes a couple tracks. Brent, what are you saying?
You expose your son to all the music you listen to?
Not all, probably most. Yeah. So I probably wouldn't.
More or less, yes.
Not most. Sorry, not all, but most.
Probably most.
Yeah.
So more or less, yes.
No. By very definition, it's not. Yes. Yeah, go
on. Okay, so I have I'll Be Right There. Nice, smooth track. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. I have Bumpy. New Black History feat Vince Staples. I don't got no commentary next to this.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like that ever.
Don't Rely on Other Men. The transition for this coming to the end is truly wonderful. Look forward to seeing it in the next Bond film. So that speaks to your point of the cinematic textures present. Ex-military, the story we were taken through is quite eventful, but it's nice. JPEG Ultra, the best part of this track starts at 4:11.
Sorry, which song?
JPEG Ultra.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
The best part of this track starts at 4:11. The strings are so special. Either on or off the drugs. Phew. What a beautiful, beautiful sample.
I thought you'd like that.
That's my favorite song.
Ooh. Then when the strings make an entrance, took me completely to heaven. Don't Put Anything on the Bible. Love this for a reason I can't quite tell you yet.
That's, you know what? That's a fucking perfect sentence for this album.
I know you like my language.
I hated your language before. I love this sentence. What you just said is poignant for this album. And I'm hoping that the listeners, if you do want to give it a shot, it's definitely different from what you usually listen to.
Don't assume.
It's okay.
What some of you may listen to.
Yeah. But yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, I thought that this is definitely gym music. The ideal scenario for you to enjoy this is in the gym.
Yeah, 100%. Trying to hit your PR.
Yeah, it has everything.
Yeah. Sorry, I've seen lots of people chatting shit about my Misandry C's sake. At me, first off.
No, they're fair. It's a fair.
No,
fair
at
comment.
me, first off. Second, someone brought up gigs. I think that's a good point, 100%. But gigs you can't argue with where Central C is. And this is me speaking as someone who isn't even a Central C fan. No one can argue what Central C has done commercially by that very definition has put London on the map. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he is the staple for London. I'm saying he has been accepted in America as a London artist bigger than anyone else. We could argue Drake in regards to gigs or Diddy, but he hasn't done it in the same stratosphere as Central C has. That's not me saying he's the best. That's not me saying anything like that. If we're arguing about who has put London on the map, I think people will be hard-pressed to argue me on that. Impossible. Also, another thing DFC Mux reminded me about. Shout out DFC Mux. Drake, there's alleged that Drake has started a burner account and he's released 100 gigs worth of shit. He's dropped a couple tracks. Actually, bear with me, guys. I could get out for you.
Yeah,
and you know what, Brent? Yo, one of them's a banger.
I heard P3, P&D and Drake got a
I don't
got a
give a shit.
collab album
I
coming
don't
as well.
give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I'm
a P&D fan, so I'm definitely here to hear.
P&D ain't P&D since he dropped P&D 2. Everything he's been dropping after that is utter garbage.
Garbage. I don't want to.
His last album was
I'm trying to choose peace, but I can't.
Doo-doo
That
Butter.
sounds wild.
He released a track on Insta. I'll post it on the Discord for everyone to see. It's called Blue, Green and Red. And I really like that track, Brent. I'll send it to you to see what you think. Okay. Yeah. I don't think this is new Drake. I still think this is More Life Drake. But this shouldn't have been a throwaway. It was really, really, really good track. He's got another track with Lotto, which is good. I find one of the samples quite jarring, but he's released, I think, 100, like I said, 100 gigs worth of footage from Views. He also released a reference for Kanye that was released as well. But yeah, I find it fun. Some people are saying he's using his burner account to refuel the beef again with Kendrick. I hope not, because everyone's done. You're done. You're finished. Stop talking. We're done out here. You're done out here. Drake, don't try to do it again. Don't call the boogeyman out. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think so. Let's move on to Put You On. Now, for full clarity on Put You On is basically a part of the segment of the rotation in which we are showing the viewers songs that they may have missed that bang to us. So it could be an old song, could be a brand new song, but regardless, it's songs that we fuck with heavy. It would have been good to get you on Put You On. Should have taken a song from you. If I knew earlier you were coming, I would have put a song for you. Where doesn't matter which song I go with first, Brent.
Nope.
So let's go with Sober 7, Bread You Up. So that was a slow, smooth song. I enjoyed it. I think I can only listen to it in certain circumstances. I give it a 2.5 out of 5.
How about you, Ed?
So I'll give that one a 2.
Okay. I gave that a 3.
Cool. Do you want to give any other takes?
Brent, you want to go on me?
No.
Okay, so I said with that one, so I'll say passion, yeah. I won't say what I actually wrote. I'll just say it didn't move me, the first listen. But I heard it a second time. I sort of, I enjoyed the production of it. I think that's sort of where it stopped for me. It was like, I enjoyed the beat, but I didn't enjoy the vocals didn't move me.
Cool. Bram?
Yeah, it was cool. This is actually a friend of Danielle's.
Okay.
And
I apologize. I take everything back.
you got to stick to your guns.
And yeah, he does this in his kind of spare time.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's not his day job type thing.
No, which is I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
where
me
it's
too.
that you still follow your passions, and you are able to create something that would get a 2.5 or a 3 from the rotation panel. So yeah.
Yep. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure. You know what? Actually, now you say that, it didn't feel like that to me.
Precisely.
It didn't feel like that to me. So Sober 7, if you got more time to put into this, definitely put more time in, man. If this is just a slice of what you're able to do, yeah, there's definitely 100% potential there. Keep doing what you're doing.
Check him out on Spotify.
We'll do. Oh yeah, definitely no. That came across as like some top, like,
Yep,
big shit.
yep.
Next track we got is Isaiah Fall's Diva. I gave this track a 3 out of 5.
Okay. And Ed?
Yeah, 3.5.
Okay.
Man, like Brent,
Put it up for
3.5.
No, I'll put it up for you.
Oh,
On your behalf.
For me. Okay, safe.
Yeah. Obviously, it's my recommendation, so
Yeah.
I don't look to recommend anything less than a 3
okay.
because it's not a recommendation otherwise. Why am
Okay.
I recommending it for you? But yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
It was a fun little bop. I could hear it. It's got a strip club. I never clocked the strip club thing. I could definitely hear it in the strip club, but I could also hear it in a barbecue. It was a fun, dancey, like 2-step kind of song. I like the different flows he hit. One too many for me. I think he should have stuck in one pocket and stuck to that. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun song.
Yeah, for me, I like similarly. I felt like it's one of those where you can play it almost anywhere. And I feel like it fits, which is always a positive for me. It gave me sort of some Brent Fires vibes of it as well.
Really?
And I'm a huge Brent Fires fan, so this sort of thing. So anything that sort of hits in that pocket, I can't help but be intrigued by. So yeah, that definitely got me took me in terms of pause. in terms of
I liked his cadence.
Yeah.
On some of the floors. My bitch was funny.
Yeah.
I liked he was just. It seemed like he was just
very
having fun on the
playful
track.
with the flow,
Yeah.
the flow is very playful. I like that. Yeah.
For real, Brent. What are you saying?
Did he remind you of your bestie, Kendrick?
Nah, because Kendrick. Nah, not really. Actually,
In terms of like
had
hitting,
an LA.
in terms of like hitting multiple pockets, I can hear what he's trying to say.
Nah, but it still doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't remind me of Kendrick at all. It just reminded me of some LA pimp. The way he said the word bitch was pretty funny.
Yeah, Kendrick does that. Reminds me of an LA pimp.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't get that.
You serious?
Yeah, I've never thought of him as an LA pimp.
Oh, fair enough. Don't want to sully him with that particular title. That's right.
I got. If anything, I see him as more like a rancher. When he started saying brother and that brother, that's more so what I relate him to, not necessarily a pimp.
I hear the same track that you guys are just going crazy over for the entire summer. The whole, "Psst, I see dead people."
I don't think I
He
remember.
emphasized certain words on that.
I don't know
that
what song
song
you're talking about
exactly
until you
like
play
this
it.
guy here.
I don't know what song you're talking about. until you
The
play
one
it.
you just said, brother.
That was the one with Baby Keem. That's a different track.
Okay.
Next track, please, Brent, is
Alright.
Alex Isley featuring Misego and Jack Dine, Good and Plenty.
Let's see. Nope.
Yep. Perfect. This is a 4 out of 5. I really, really, really like Alex Isley. I believe she's related to one of the Isley brothers. She is, I believe, that off the top of my head. I could check it. I'm not bothered to do it at the moment. That song bangs. And I won't have any slander from either of you. What did you not think?
You can't impose yourself like that, you know.
Huh?
You can't do stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't do that to us, huh?
What?
You're right. She's the daughter of Ernie
Yeah.
Isley.
There we go. Well, I can't do what? Say you're not allowed to have a different opinion.
Yes, sir.
She's trying to bully us into your
imagine?
opinion. What are you doing?
What did you not think?
Like you're trying to bully people into loving Central C on this black platform.
I never.
dare
Okay.
you.
Okay.
DI got wrong.
Okay. All right. Ed, what you say? What do you think of the song?
Yeah, no, I love the vocals. You know, very, very smooth. And when you say, obviously, now I know she's an Isley. I'm like, it makes sense. Just how smooth she rode that beat. So I have to rate her for that one. Was it Misego?
Misego.
Yeah. So when his vocals came in, I was like, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I think I liked his vocals even more than hers.
Sick.
So it gave me a bit of Sampha almost. It was a bit
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
Sampha
yeah,
shit.
actually,
I was like,
yeah.
And I was like, okay. I didn't expect that. So I was just like, from the way she was, I think they juxtaposed each other, but also complemented each other.
That's a
terms of
very
the-
good fucking
yeah.
critique. I never
So-
put the correlation of Sampha and Masego together because they both have that
Yeah.
voice.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So I wasn't expecting it. So I think, I was like, okay, that's all. It was like, all right, that's deep. I like that one there. That was a good. That was a good record.
Trust me. What are you saying? What are you saying, Brent?
I have it down as a 3.5. I really like this track.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add?
No, I'm now conscious that we're spending too much time because Saleh said that he feels that this segment doesn't have to be anywhere near as long as this is. So I'm now being influenced by
By Saleh.
Saleh's comment.
bullied us, yeah.
Fantastic.
Kato King has bullied us into.
Yeah.
It just means it doesn't have to be anywhere near as long as this. Fantastic. Next song.
Yeah.
Next song we got is Stan Getz, Luis Bonfa, Maria Toledo, Suadaje Vim Correndo.
Say that again.
Suadaje Vim Correndo.
I'm just gonna call it the jazz song. I'm not gonna lie.
So this gets, this song gets a 5 out of 5 for me.
So, Emmanuel, he has actually given a song 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Did you manage to...
No, I'm not, you know.
All right. How about you, Ed?
Definitely not 5. Sorry, Ramsey. I'm going 3.
3, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And Brent?
Yeah, I'll go for a 3 for sir.
Okay.
Sorry. Apologize. For your debut.
I think
your
this,
5 out of 5 debut.
I think it's a good debut as well. This song is a huge staple in Brazilian jazz. And it was also sampled by one of my favorite producers ever, Jay Dilla. This was sampled for the running track with Farside.
Oh, no, I knew this.
No, you didn't. You gave it a 3 out of 5.
No. I said no. I knew I felt like I'd heard that somewhere before. But yeah, all right, fair enough.
Proper track. I love this album. I love this song. I love it. It's nostalgia feels, the talent, the time it was released, just everything for it. But since Saleh hates the segment, wrap it up quick. But I love this song. Brent, what was your thing?
Brother, come on, man.
You don't like it?
Elevator music, innit?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's elevator vibes. It's nice elevator music though. It's like, all right.
Nuts. You lot can love JPEG shit and not like this? Nuts to me. That's wild. This song is fucking amazing to me.
That's good. That's good.
That song's amazing. Jazz, not every day hearing someone shout and swear on a track. Sometimes just pure instrumentation and nice singing.
Hey, if the next time I call Barclays up and they're playing that, I'm gonna be happy. I'll be enjoying it.
100%.
So P&D's more
I'll
your
tap my fingers. I'll be
shit. P&D albums more your style, yeah.
Oh,
Say
wow.
less.
Wow.
No worries.
I'm protecting my peace here.
But
I'm not trying to-
But that wraps up the rotation. Thank you, Edmund. That was sick. I appreciate it.
All right. Let's go into our last set of headlines. I
Ridiculous.
just didn't have the...
Yeah, did have the time.
I
Yep.
didn't, man. All right, people. So our last set of headlines. Ukrainian troops crossed the border near Sudza in Russia in a rare cross-border attack, prompting a state of emergency in the Kursk region. President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine of major provocation and claimed hundreds of Ukrainian troops were involved, supported by tanks and armored vehicles. The Ukrainian MP, Oleksiy Khoranchenko, confirmed the incursion and stated that the Ukrainian army had taken control of the Sudza gas hub. The US expressed surprise and planned to contact the Ukrainian military for clarification. Fighting and air attacks occurred in various Russian border villages, resulting in civilian casualties and damage. Next headline takes us to Niger, where they have cut diplomatic ties with Ukraine, a move which signals a burgeoning rift between some West African states and Kiev. Niger's military government said that it made the move in solidarity with neighboring Mali, who severed their own relations with Ukraine 2 days ago, which we spoke about briefly. Both countries cited comments by a Ukrainian military official who suggested that Kiev played a role in the killing of dozens of Malian soldiers last month. Ukraine has been trying to win allies in Africa throughout its war with Russia, likely in an attempt to counter Moscow's growing influence on the continent. At the end of July, scores of Malian soldiers, along with mercenaries from Russia's Wagner Group, were killed in clashes with separatist rebels and Al-Qaeda-linked militants. And our last headline, this might be some good news for a lot of you people. The UK is expected to experience a heat wave.
Man, again.
Yeah, it's good. We need it, man.
When?
Weekend.
People stink. They stink. People don't wear deodorant. Let's be real. London heat at 30 degrees is not the same as London heat in Africa or in the Caribbean or anything like that. Man, them are dirty out there. They stink.
It's not the
and
same.
the tube's too hot.
But we need the sun.
Not 30. I'll be happy with 25. We don't need 30.
Well,
It's
25 is
madness.
not hot though, isn't it?
25 is alright. London heat is very different to other heat, you know? People need to wear antiperspirant.
I just hate the flying ants. That's all. I don't mind the heat, but the flying ants just another headline.
I don't mind flying ants. I can just swat them away. I can't swat stench.
Well, whether you like it or not, it's going to be here, right? And the temperature is expected to soar over 30 degrees Celsius in some parts of the country over the weekend and early next week. The hottest days are forecasted to be on Sunday and Monday, with temperatures reaching the mid-30s in the southeast of England. Other areas in southern and eastern England, the Midlands and South Wales, are also expected to see a rise in temperatures. The hot weather is attributed to Storm Debbie, which has caused severe flooding and heavy rains in the United States. While the storm itself will not directly affect the UK, it is responsible for the heat, the humid air that is moving towards Spain and France and influencing parts of England and Wales. And that's pretty much it for the headlines, man. It's time to pay them bills and go into the reaction. All right, people, welcome to the reaction. There isn't much to talk about. Obviously, the Olympics is going on. You guys been watching the Olympics? Nope. Okay.
Not the last couple of days. I missed the last couple of days.
Okay, cool. Well, just wanted to say, day 13 of the Paris Olympics. Like most days, there's an action-packed schedule. Katrina Johnson-Thompson, who's the heptathlon star for GB, she's beginning her quest for glory in the 100-meter hurdles and high jump. Jade Jones, she's a two-time Olympic gold medalist in Taekwondo. She's going to be trying to get her third gold after overcoming a drug test controversy. Jack Law, pardon me for messing up his name, he got a bronze in the synchro diving event of 3 meters, and he's going to be competing in the men's 3 meters springboard final and trying to get another medal as well. Noah Lyles, we spoke about him the other day. He won the gold in the men's 200 meters final. He's going to be the center of attention at the athletics event. And also, Team USA, led by LeBron, they're going to be facing off against opponents in the men's basketball semifinals. You've got the UK-based boxer Cindy Ngamba, who made history as the refugee team's first Olympic medalist, and she's going to be fighting for a spot for gold as well. Just wanted to tell you guys a few of the things you could be watching. Basically, right now, if you was watching, you'll be basically watching wrestling, basically. Basically going between wrestling and athletics. Right now, they're doing the men's 800 meters heat 2. So, you know, the people that don't make the qualifier for the main thing, they're going to be best losers.
What do you think about that repercharge thing? I don't see the point in it. I can't lie. I mean, no, I understand why they're doing it, because to an extent, it's like they're trying to make sure, you know, that if somebody, you know, a big name drops out, they've got a chance to make it back in.
That's true.
But in terms of to view it, it just feels like what's the point? Because to an extent, it's like, well, if I just think, oh, you know, I'll just save my energy for the repercharge. Like that guy in the hurdles where he sort of was like, all right, I think I might be carrying something, and just, you know, let me take it like 50%, and then I'll kick it in gear for the repercharge. I'm like, I feel like that sort of almost, you know, defeats the competitive aspect. You know what I mean, in terms of that.
But
to an extent,
I get what you're saying. But if you're still good enough to get a medal, isn't that the only thing that matters? Because then you're kind of just, you know what I mean? You're just kind of cruising to get there. Because at the end of the day, you can't be gifted the medal. You know what I'm saying? So does it really matter how you get there?
No, yeah, of course you still got to earn it, of course, yeah. But I just feel like, you know, the way it's been with obviously fastest losers usually going through, I just feel like, you know, those who put the effort in, and maybe in that first race missed out by 0.1 of a second or 0.05 of a second or whatever, maybe, where it's like you work that hard in that round, and then the next heat, the repechage comes, and then obviously run a bit slower because you're tired from the previous day, and then somebody who finished 5th, 6th, 7th in their previous race then gets to go there over you. It just feels like I don't know.
I get what you're saying. The other things that's going on right now, I mentioned wrestling and athletics, taekwondo as well. That's going on. So there's a lot of that going on. Sailing's going to be later on today as well. Sport climbing, water polo as well, canoe sprint as well. So yeah, man, there's going to be quite a lot today. Table tennis. So guys, stay tuned, man. And obviously we'll speak about some of these events tomorrow, man. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the for the reaction.
Got any sports news, Ed?
Probably just some transfer stuff I can.
Yes,
speak
please.
on. So, I think the biggest things is I've heard but United and Burnley. United are considering signing Burnley's midfielder Sanderberg. I've seen that floating around. I've seen that what's it called? Chelsea have just completed the deal for Samu something, Omo Darian or something like that. Streets are calling him Omarion because his name is like a madness. But yeah, so and that's all part of the Gallagher, Alvarez, everybody moving around situation there. So I've seen that. Seen Liverpool looking into the potential signing Zubamendi from Sociedad. So maybe finally dealing with that DM situation.
If they get that done, that'll be a good acquisition.
No,
I don't know if they're gonna get that done.
No, they definitely need a DM. They definitely need a DM. So I think it definitely seems like that's their primary goal is to get a DM in the window. And I've seen also for Palace sides, we've been linked to trying to get Trevor Chalobah.
Okay.
So, that'd be cool, because obviously the gay is looking like he's heading to Newcastle. So I think that'd be a good move for us. No signings yet. Not anything going on with you guys, Brent?
Yeah. What's that? Femster said Liverpool have got Zubi.
No, they have got
Is
him.
that confirmed?
Oh, well, I saw that they said that there was something Fabrizio said like Sociedad have accepted that if Zubimendi leaves, he'll be going to Liverpool, kind of
All
thing.
right,
Something
then.
like that. But I don't know if they've organised. I don't think they've set a fee or nothing.
Okay, well that would be a very, very good coup for Liverpool if they get that over the line.
When you're friendly, yeah? I'm just going to Alicia.
Yeah. So Arsenal had a friendly against Bayer Leverkusen. Those were the champions of Germany, and they went unbeaten, invincible, and we won 4-1. Obviously, a friendly is a friendly, innit? Friendly is a friendly, so I couldn't read too much into that. But Arteta did say that he had a look at Jesus, and he's very impressed. He looks like a different animal.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've been hearing talks that the striker situation might be sticking with just Jesus and Havertz for now. Innit?
Yeah, I don't know about that because we're getting rid of Nketiah, so we have to replace him with somebody. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing. And each time it is that we look to do something like that, he pops down for 6 months. So to put all our eggs in Jesus being a striker next season, that would be highly, highly stupid. Yeah. Very asinine.
We still see no links for someone to give Saka some competition or give him some rest.
No, not yet. But I don't think we're finished just yet. I do believe there'll be a couple incomings and outgoings before the window is closed. But yeah, Fernand, Liverpool is going to cook this season if it is you guys get Zubi over the line. I do believe that that'll be a great acquisition. Like a very good acquisition. But anyway, let me get on the stage to ask Ed a question. Fremster wants to ask you a question. Let me give him the mic.
Go on, Fremster. Let me get the headphones in.
All right, Femster, good morning.
Morning.
This is proper South, by the way. This is what a South London accent sounds like. No, just informing this boy.
Yeah. About Zubi, yeah, Ed, I was just saying that once you've got the agreement of a player, which has come out obviously from David Ornstein that Liverpool have got his agreement.
Yeah.
I mean, you've pretty much done the deal. The only thing is, with those release clauses in Spain, you kind of have to pay the fee up front, which Premier League teams do have a problem with because they like to spread out payments.
Yeah.
So what Liverpool will probably just do is go to his club and say, we'll pay you a little bit more, but we'd like to spread out the payment.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty much going down one direction, which is a bit weird because
we thought that with Caicedo and Lavia, innit? So you never know, innit?
Well, I mean, it's a bit weird. That's what I was going to say. A lot, especially Arsenal and Bayern, have really pushed for this guy. Like, we've heard that Arteta's spoken to him so many times, but he just couldn't get him to leave. So why did Arsenal abandon the chase the summer that he did then decide to leave? It's a really strange one, how this is all played out. And then Arsenal went for his teammate, Moreno, where they've chased him for like 2-3 years. It's a bit of this football transfers are really fascinating. It's funny to see the behind the scenes.
The thing I think with Moreno though, and I'm only from the brief bits I've seen of him, I ain't gonna say I've watched like every one of his games. I've seen some of the Euros and a couple games associated with that. But I think Moreno is more like Jorginho in terms of like his style of play. I think in terms of Declan Rice, that when we saw Declan Rice at his best last season, I feel like it was when you had Jorginho there. You know what I mean? So I feel like they've probably gone and said, all right, well, we need to get a player of that profile, but who's got more legs and probably a bit more physical, because Moreno's quite a tall guy in it, so he's a bit more physical, bit better in the air, stuff like that. So I feel like they've probably gone, let's go for that profile as opposed to a destroyer.
See, I
like
actually,
Zubimendi, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know? I think Zubimendi's gonna do what Havertz was brought in to do last year, which is he's gonna be the box crasher that Havertz is supposed to be, and then Havertz will obviously play up front more. It's a weird dynamic at Arsenal, because then you watch Arsenal yesterday and Jesus is kind of looking like his old self again, and then Havertz was actually playing really well in midfield yesterday because Jesus is playing like himself. It's all really it will be interesting to watch Arsenal this season. I don't think they're going to be exactly the same as they were last season. They've made a few little tweaks just from watching pre-season around the left-hand side, which was absolutely not working last season. But you can see the little tweaks they've made this season.
I want to see what that defense, what the starting defense is going to be with Timber and Calafiori and White and Zinchenko.
Yeah,
who's going to be the fullbacks? Who's basically going to be the fullbacks for you starting this season? So
I don't think Timber will be starting a lot of games this side of Christmas. I think people are really expecting a lot from a player coming back from ACL injury. I mean, as you can see already, he's already been taken out of action to rest. Yeah, you have to load him up slowly, and getting Ben White out of the team is people think it's easier than it is. He's a really good player.
No, he was that best right back in the league last season. So.
Exactly. And then yesterday in the second half, you saw what with Miles Lewis-Skelly, he played like a different role to what Zinchenko plays. So Zinchenko, obviously everyone knows he goes into midfield and wants to play in central midfield basically as a left back. But Lewis-Skelly was kind of doing it differently, where he was playing more as a centre back from left back, which is where you probably see Calafiori doing, where he gets the ball, drives into centre back, and then he can ping the ball from there. And that will help with Declan Rice not being the best passer.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's going to be quite interesting. But I wanted to ask you, actually, I saw this morning that Wolf Zaha might be coming back to Palace. What are you thinking there?
I did see something like that, but I thought it was just somebody capping, to be fair. But,
on loan. They're trying to get rid of him.
I can hear it in terms of Galatasaray trying to get rid of him, because he's taken a lot of money and he's been like average at best. So I can hear it. I can hear it in terms of them wanting to get rid. But I feel like in the system that we play, I don't know if how we put Wolf in there. I don't want to just like, as good as he is, as good as I know he can be, I don't want to do like the square peg round hole thing with Zaha. You know what I'm saying? If we brought him back, as we play right now with Glasner, I don't know how he fits. That's my thing. So I'm not anti it, but I just don't see how it would work right now. Like,
it's a weird one, man.
But I can't. I'll never say no to seeing Wolf in the blue and red again. You know what I'm saying?
All right. That's what I wanted to ask you anyway.
Thank you very much, Femstar.
Brent, did you watch the game yesterday, or you didn't?
I caught the highlights. I didn't actually watch the game. Just caught the highlights. But so that we were cooking first. 15 minutes? We were 2-0 up.
Yeah, no, it was a good performance. Really good yesterday.
And we had a whole 4 substitutions at halftime or something like that. So we changed the entire look of the team, and we still played well.
Definitely, still played well. A little bit different, but still well. Havertz was played really well. He looks sharp. Saka was quiet, but he did do his usual thing, doesn't he? He provides every game. If you leave him with a fullback 1-on-1, just forget about it. He's gonna cook him. So he did.
A couple of people are saying that we're after Yilmaz.
I don't believe hardly any transfer rumors I hear when it comes to Arsenal.
All right.
I just don't see us buying loads of players until we can sell players.
Yeah.
If we can't get rid of Eddie and Nelson, I don't see where you're going to add more players.
What's happening with Eddie? Because last I saw, obviously they're trying to do a deal with Marseille, but I think Marseille didn't want to pay what you wanted or something. It's gone stalemate.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? Depending on where you believe, Arsenal set a price and they said, we're not going below this price. But the issue is Marseille obviously don't want to pay that. And now Arsenal kind of like, if we either take that, what they're giving us, or we hang on to the end of the window and hope someone else comes in for him, knowing that Arsenal can't sign any more attackers until they sell attackers. It's a bit of a weird one. So I don't know. They might just have to take the money and forget about it, even though I think it's a poor deal personally.
Yeah, I hear it though. Yeah. Sometimes you're just gonna have to cut the losses, especially as it gets later in the window.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, how many minutes is he going to play? So just take the money and run.
Fair. Thank you very much for calling in, Femstar.
No worries. Thanks, Ellis.
Bless Femstar.
All right, then. So we are going into the outro.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Ed, for your debut. You done really, really well, except for your last take on the Put You On song. Thanks for the people. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, as usual. And thanks for the researchers for a great show. Please follow us on all the socials. Join our Discord, The Day After TMB, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Share it, engage, argue with my takes, whatever you want. It was a really good show today, man. I enjoyed it.
How did you feel it was, Ed? What was your experience?
You're not as scary as you come across it, Brent. You know what I mean?
Me? This wasn't what you were thinking when it is that you turn up here, surely.
No, I'm joking.
All right, then. It was unfortunate that obviously the entire team weren't here. But,
but no, it was a good vibe. Enjoyed my debut.
Yeah.
I feel like I handled some of the pressure questions from yourself and the man.
You did really well.
I feel like I don't think I'm getting too many clips on me. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood and that. I'll definitely be accepting the bat signal
good.
Another time when you holler at me, Brent, for sure.
Lovely. We have a guest on tomorrow. I'll probably put up a card on Instagram so you know who it is.
You're gonna give him a Caesar.
A Caesar. What's that?
A teaser.
Teaser, I think so. Is that what it's called when it is I say who's coming on?
No, just give an indication, like a little hint.
Hint.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. His entire face is going to be there. Oh, you mean no?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My brain works very differently than yours, obviously. I'm not explaining as to how it is. I'm going to be putting up the card to say this is who's coming in, and you're saying, am I going to give them a teaser? What is that?
Well, thank you for tuning in.
What really is that?
Thank
It's literally
Thank you.
the person.
You brought it up now. You brought up now.
This is
So say, so give a hint in it. You brought up now.
It's a guy we met at Daryl's screening the other day.
Sick.
Were you there?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't invited.
Cool. He's a photographer, and I think he attends all of these particular rallies and stuff, and he's taken quite a few famous pictures, and it's been featured on quite a few publications and whatnot. So he's going to come tune and talk to us about his career and his vocation and stuff like that.
Sick.
Yeah. What else is there? I think that's only my answer way to relay. I don't know how many tickets are left for the excursion on the 17th, but it's female heavy. It's female heavy. So if it is any men wanna, meet a sweet one, hey, send in your
interest.
Please. I don't know how many tickets are left, but please, thank you. That is it.
Thank you everyone for tuning in again.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day, and please tune in tomorrow for that interview as well as the show.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Love.
All right.